Well, hello everyone. Hello, welcome. Oh, hype training already. Goodness. I hope y'all are having a good evening. Probably evening for most of you, right? Or morning, in which case, what are you still doing up? Oh, goodness, already. Thank you for the 4 months, Lord Trident. Working toward that fancy ice cream indeed. 2 more months and you get to the next flavor. 1 more month for Melkroth. Thank you for 5 months. Thank you also for 5 months, Ryger. Been a little bit since I caught any of alive. Well, welcome. And 5 months from Rail Leardu as well. Almost half a year already on the Purple website. Time flies. Excited for Forspoken analysis. I'm excited too. Boy, time does fly, huh? Not wildly off from 6 months. Bonkers. Thanks for the 5 months also, King of Doma. I am ready for incorrect gameplay. Possibly also silly dialogue. Probably some of both. Definitely incorrect gameplay. But for educational purposes. Thanks for the 2 months, Dipsy-Koo. And 5 months, Zorlok Dark Soul. 5 whole gosh dang months. Welcome one and all, Pichu included, of course. What kind of incorrect gameplay are we talking about? Really, whatever is most educational. So for those of you who are not yet familiar, a wrong play is a term that I've just decided to use to kind of have a shorthand term for playing a game like a game developer does. Because oftentimes, when you make games for a living and you play other people's games, you're curious about... Stop fighting. For no reason. You were just snuggling, and you will be snuggling again in, like, mere minutes. Stop fighting for no good reason. Go on. Break it up. Nerds. It's basically... Yeah, playing the game wrong to try to kind of understand how the systems work and how things are going on under the hood, and just playing it weird, really. So sometimes we do some streams where I kind of go in with the specific intent of playing it weird. Not really trying to get the intended experience necessarily, but trying to see what can be learned. And we've done that in the past with some very good games. But you can also learn just as much and sometimes more from games that aren't quite, like, making it work. So, like, I figured this might be a good opportunity, since it's one that sounds like it's got plenty of issues. Seemed like a good potential self-education opportunity, yeah? Hey, thanks for the 4 months, Chroma Capybara. So wait, so Arc Flash Hazard saying, I rewatched the VOD for Fire Emblem. The riffing on the absurdity of the plot-esque stuff still has me rolling. It's not very, like, I was sort of in shock about it while streaming it before. Now, just with some time to digest, it really is kind of bonkers to me, the writing and the story, and just everything on that front in Fire Emblem Engage is so much worse than I've come to expect from Fire Emblem. That alone makes me not interested in going back and playing any of, like, Fire Emblem Engage, which is not to say there's not still good stuff about Engage that plenty of other people are, like, correctly enjoying. It's just like, if the narrative aspect of Fire Emblem is not working, then I don't have interest. And I think that we're going to run into some similar narrative challenges with Forspoken here. But a different kind. And this is clearly going for a much more AAA presentation. And I think modern AAA games that don't quite make everything click can be just so interesting to kind of dig into, because making a big AAA game feel super polished and like if you think about your favorite super AAA, expensive looking, but just polished to heck, awesome looking game experiences. It takes so much to get a game to that point of polish and presentation. So many dozens of people from different disciplines working together, just ironing out every tiny little wrinkle. And that takes so long. A lot of your favorite games that are super polished, your favorite AAA games, are look and feel and play probably something not unlike this at some point. Thank you for the 5 months. Absolutely. I've been feeling kind of down lately, and rewatching a bunch of old Playframe videos have been a huge help. Thanks for so much great content. Oh, I'm glad we could help. Sorry it's been down lately, but hopefully that will improve soon for you, whatever it is, and I am glad that we were able to be a little comforting, at least in the meantime. And thank you, Bahab Ali, for 5 gifted subs. It's very generous of you. Thank you. And yeah, what does AAA? What does the AAA stand for? I'll be honest, I don't really know. I don't think it's an acronym or anything. Although if we want to make it an acronym, we can absolutely try to come up with something now. Thank you for the 5 months, the NK dude. Excited to see the animation breakdown? Yeah, I think this will be interesting to dip into. Have I gotten a chance to look at Hi-Fi Rush any yet? I have. I've recorded a one-off of it, so next week on Playframe, we'll have a one-off of that. And boy, what a cool-looking game. I would gush about it here, but you're gonna get, honestly, sick of that in the one-off I recorded for next week, so I'll just let you wait. AAA as a term is one that we just generally use and all kind of collectively know for the most part what we mean. It is whatever the biggest budget, largest production kind of tier of game development currently is. So in baseball, they rank minor leagues like A+, AA, and AAA. That's probably where it originated from, isn't it? Or apparently it was borrowed from credit industry bond ratings. So apparently it's like a standard of terminology that's been used in various places. And we just sort of applied it. Which makes sense. And I think we need some term for categorization for scale of production and budget, right? I think that is useful when we're trying to discuss games, being able to express that with the difference between a game that was made by 3 people versus a game that was made by 30 people versus a game that was made by 1,000 people. That's relevant information to the conversation a lot of the time. In some ways, at least. Is there a schedule for Playframe streams? Generally, I try to stream. The slots when I usually am able to stream are Wednesday nights now, basically this time slot. I try to always do something on a Wednesday evening. And when I've got time and energy for it, I will often do sort of an earlier in the day Sunday stream as well. Something closer to noon Pacific time or something like that. I'll probably not be able to do as much of that in the next month or so, because things are going to be looking busy for a bit, but have I seen Baba must do his taxes yet? No, I've not. I've heard it exists, but I've not looked into it. Sounds amusing. I'm not 100% sure how far we will manage to get into this in just a short time. My understanding is it does start pretty slow, but even in that stretch, even before we're to the proper game of Forspoken, I'm sure there'll be plenty of interest to kind of analyze. I do want to go ahead and say up front, we're not playing this to dunk on it just for funsies. That's not the kind of thing I do. I have no interest in doing that. worked in games long enough. I know how hard games are to make. Any game that comes out that is a mess is, for me, generally just like, that's sad, not something to be like mocking. So like, we're definitely, we will be critical for sure, but I'm not like, enough people are just kicking this game around for fun. I'm not interested in doing that. How do you choose your stream music? Do you have a playlist? Do you run it off of a specific program? I have a large collection of video game remixes that I've just been building for like half of my life at this point. But most of the tracks that we use on this little playlist that I have, which I'm just using like Apple Music app for, because it's just because it's the extension of iTunes, which is where I started this whole playlist, are from various albums and individual tracks that have been released on various sites. Here, I've got a handy command just for this. I think, hopefully this is the command. Yep, there it is. It's like a mix of stuff from the labels like Tiny Waves, a bunch of lo-fi albums that Game Chops has released, and a handful of overclocked remix tracks as well. It has been interesting seeing this game, how this game's been received. Because, like, I think with most games, if you take some of their weakest bits and just kind of drop them with no context, which is what this game's definitely been subjected to. Which is not to say, like, I have looked at this game, like, especially the first hour or so, like, it's not a game that's coming together very well. And in a lot of ways. But it does seem like we kind of, the gaming community sort of collectively decided, this one's, like, we've decided this one is gonna be bad and we hate it. and thus it is completely bad and we hate it. And we just sort of, in the way that the game community does. And in a way that, like, probably rags on the, like, probably trashes this game for things which we wouldn't bat an eye in a lot of other games. Like, I've played a lot of games with garbage dialogue in it. We've done every Kingdom Hearts game, and listen, I'm a big fan of Kingdom Hearts, but the dialogue in every single Kingdom Hearts is terrible. Across the board. Like, abysmally bad. I'm willing to bet the dialogue in this is going to be better than in every single Sonic game. And this is going to be an interesting game too. We'll actually get into it in a minute here. We're just sort of like warming up. Like, this is going to be an interesting one too, because it is a game, because it's developed by the Final Fantasy 15 team, basically. And it's them making a game with like set in, or at least starting out in, an American city, an English-speaking cast, and you know what I think? I expect this is going to give vibes. This is going to give kind of like a nostalgia for like PS3, PS2 era, for like single player action games where the kind of like the direct, like the script wasn't great, the voice acting was okay, the like scene direction was pretty bad actually, and just a lot of it wasn't all entirely gelling together, but it was like there, it like it's not gonna live up to current AAA polish, but I feel like it's gonna hit, I suspect we're gonna hit some of that like almost a nostalgic level of stuff that doesn't entirely land, but it's kind of charming in ways. We'll find out together, won't we? You know what, let's go ahead and, apparently the game starts slow enough, let's get into this. Okay. I dipped into it just a tiny little bit earlier just to make sure that like I had graphic settings and stuff going okay to where it was actually going to run. I expect that the dialogue in this, which I think we've all, anyone who has encountered the dialogue of this game without playing it has seen stuff from trailers and other and some various scenes which are not great, like for real, not great dialogue, but also not actually that much worse than dialogue in a lot of the games that, again, we don't really bat an eye at it. I think it might just be a kind of a style of dialogue that's not just a little bit out of fashion with the more quippy type thing. And I don't even think that that's the problem. Like a lot of people are saying that it's sort of like Whedon-esque Avengers quippy dialogue, like that aspect of it is the problem. I don't think it is. I think the problems lie elsewhere, but that it's also a very badly done version of that. And a badly done version of that can get really grating really quickly. The marketing for the game absolutely did not help. The marketing, if anything, made it so much worse because the marketing opened with like such a intense salvo of that vibe and that kind of dialogue that it set the tone for that was the first impression we all got basically, and it set the tone for how we were going to perceive literally anything else they showed us from then on. And that's like, I mean, that's a real unforced error, it feels like to me. Frontiers would like a word? What, with about bad dialogue? No. Frontiers about dialogue's bad too. In fact, Frontiers dialogue has some of this exact quippy kind of thing in it. Like, almost all of Sonic's dialogue is exactly this kind of like, okay, I'm sort of snarking a little bit on the genre conventions of the thing I'm in, and not at all that phased about what's going on around me. Like, that's Sonic's like MO. I don't know. I think, well, this will be interesting, won't it? Let's just get it started and we'll start seeing what we can learn. Again, we're not here to dunk. We are here to like critique and mostly just to like learn what we can about the making of games, because this is a big old game that involved a lot of people making it. And as those huge, like, there's going to be a lot to learn, I am sure. Sonic was called and Sonic answered. Thanks for the 5 months, by the way, Iskarjarak. And for 5 months as well, Professor Farnsworth 88.
Yeah!
Oh boy. All right, here we go. Y'all let me know how volume levels end up being, especially once we get into... once we get into actual play. Can we talk about the UI? Any good? I mean, like, yeah, especially once we get into it, I think more so. Like right now, it's a menu. Pretty basic menu. It's quite pretty though, like just fancy, cool little effects on it and all. I might go... Oh, you know what? We'll go for effectively... That's very good. Beautiful. All right, yeah, let's go for like medium. I think we can change it later during play if we need to. I wouldn't be surprised if we have to go down to easy later, just so like I can focus on not dying or I can focus less on staying alive and more on play and stuff like that. But yeah, let's just go.
Everyone has something they're willing to fight for. Could be family, friends, your beliefs, your home. Doesn't matter who you are, there's just some things you have to protect.
This game is also, I'm pretty sure, rated M. Just heads up for the people for whom that's a concern.
Guess I know.
Is it quiet right now? Let's bump it up.
Wish I could go back in time and tell myself. But I was not ready to hear it.
Honorable Judge Maya Bird presiding in the case of people of the state of New York versus Alfred Hound. Defendant charged with attempted grand larceny.
How'd he plead? Not guilty, Your Honor.
I see. Officer, please remove her cuffs. Now, before we begin,
Pichu, please.
perhaps you should reacquaint yourself with your many previous encounters.
This on
with the
PS5
law.
or PC? This is running on PC currently. Okay, so here we are with our first little choice and an interesting way to go about it. Sorry for those of you who can't read the text. I know it is very small. Let's read the document on the left. Got our high school diploma.
Haven't seen this in a while.
Kind of an interesting way to sort of like quickly introduce some real fast basics about the character without making it dialogue. Let's see.
Not my best angle.
Arrest record and document on the right.
Nothing like a trip down memory lane.
So she was
Why
found
are
as a
you
baby
here
in the
for
Holland Tunnel.
Grand larceny? Is that who you really are?
No, it's just I needed the cash for. Never mind.
Sooner or later, you're going to have to start taking accountability for your actions.
Sorry, yeah, that was a good thought, but yes, I missed the opportunity. If anyone has any suggestions, by the way, this is how we do it with wrong plays. If you have suggestions for something to try doing,
also known as
like,
the three
and
strikes
playing
law.
wrong in a way to see what
you can't
happens,
do that.
by
I
all
never
means,
hurt
suggest it in
Just
chat.
yourself. You have 2 previous felony thefts, and with this new one, your grand total will be 3. This could put you away for a very, very long time. You have so much
Potential? I can do so much more with my life. I'm a smart girl with a bright future.
I was going to say you have so much anger and resentment in you, I'm not sure you'll ever amount to anything at all. Truth hurts. But in the holiday spirit, I'm going to give you an early present. Try not to piss it away. I'm going to release you under the condition you serve 120 hours of community service.
Thanks. You won't regret it.
Next time you end up in front of me, I will not be as lenient. We clear? Good. You're free to go.
You know what it feels like it's kind of hurting
Frey,
this so far?
one more thing.
It's the cinematography.
Happy almost birthday. It's not too late to start using your gifts to help others.
Like, I think, yeah, I'm not loving a lot of like the scene direction on these. Like, if we kept the performances and the dialogue all the same, I don't love the choices of where the camera was and when it cut to somebody else like that.
That was close. That judge might have just saved my ass. Won't get that lucky again.
Like, that's not helping.
Hey, excuse me. Your phone.
Oh my gosh. Thank you so much.
No worries. Happens to all of us.
You saved my life, seriously. Happy holidays.
Happy holidays. I should get back to Homer. Poor girl needs her dinner.
Ooh, time to play. Let's see if we can increase. How is subtitle size doing for y'all? Do we need to make that larger? Tracking objectives in the journal and such. Let me see if I can do that. Okay. Bigger? Okay, let's see what we can do. Let's see what they'll let us do, rather. Settings. Accessibility is over here. I know I saw subtitle stuff. Yes. Large. There we go. Excellent. Okay, cool. Is there larger than large? I'm curious now. No, it's large, medium, or small, and I can't imagine what small looks like. But depending on what you're watching or playing this on, small may be, like, if you're playing on a monitor that's, like, really close up to you full screen, small may be perfectly fine, but on the whole, it does seem like we tend to err a little bit too small on these things, industry-wide. Can you make the sub background opaque? Yeah, I'm down with that. Let's do it. Why not? There we go. I appreciate that they give that option.
Straight home.
Oh yeah, that is a little more legible, and it's wild that that's large subtitles. Hey, anybody watching right now, anyone watching this from New York? Or who is a resident of, or has, like, spent a great deal of time in Manhattan? Because I am super curious how authentic any of this feels. Not enough rats. Stand in the street. Okay, yep, no, we gotta test that. In this little stretch here, how silly can we be? And how well does traffic respond to that? I guess they honk at us. That makes sense.
I hate the cold.
Hey, that's a little bit more like it for large subtitles. Much better. Hey, thanks for the 4 months, Max Atreides.
That's the perfect gift. She's gonna love it.
Pretty decent basic locomotion on the character. So from what I've been able to tell, this is a game that is, like, obviously extensively using motion capture, and I'm pretty sure performance capture for a lot of it. The performer for our main character here is an actress who's, like, a professional actress who's been in several things. I think the Resident Evil TV show that came out just last year, she starred in, and various others. See if the traffic follows the lights correctly. Oh, that'd be an interesting one. Yeah, I'm particularly curious here because I know lots of folks, like lots of English speakers and folks who aren't Japanese, were involved in the production of this at various levels. Like the like performance capture director, like is not Japanese. The main character performer certainly isn't. But this is a Japanese studio that developed the game, and I'm wondering if, like, I'm super curious if New York, and especially like a New Yorker, like a black woman living in New York, if that experience filtered through a completely different cultural perspective, even with lots of, like, help from and, like, consultation for folks who might live there. I'm wondering, like, if there is a little bit of that uncanniness that we'll be running into. I too am enjoying the fake Phantom of the Opera, Mamma Mia, and Wicked posters. That's as someone who's only been to Manhattan a couple of times and just walked to, like for very brief visits. This feels pretty similar to me, but it's
I hope I never see the inside of a courtroom again.
I just visited a couple of times. I didn't. Hey, how do people respond to being walked into directly? Because most New Yorkers, I feel like, would respond poorly. They just try to kind of path around you. Oh, this same person twice. Like, given that most of this game is not, this is just an introductory little chapter. Most of this, like, it makes sense to not dump your whole budget into making to making perfect New York. That's not as important for this game as it is for, like, Insomniac Spider-Man. But given this is also, like, our first impression of the game, if we see, like, rough around the edges stuff here,
Hello?
it is a tone setter.
Bye.
Oh, fuck.
Frey. Thought we wouldn't find you?
Hey,
Lisa!
Lisa? Really? I thought she was Lisa.
That's Chrissy!
Huh. Well, in my defense, you don't really look like a Lisa.
Where is it?
Oh, I don't have it, all right? There were complications. Not like I wanted to get caught stealing the car, but here we are.
We don't like complications. You're running out of chances.
Yeah, I've been hearing that one a lot today.
Get the car back.
It's not that easy. It's been impounded. What's so special about this car anyway?
It's none of your damn business. Our boss, Mr. Gigan, is very unhappy. So unless you get it back, one of us is gonna be in a lot of pain.
Do I get to pick?
Keep joking. We will leave your body in this fucking alley, and I promise you, no one is gonna miss you. No one.
Okay. Okay, fine. Just tell your boss, Mr. Chicken.
Gigan.
Wiggin.
Gigan!
All right, Giggin. Quick gig. I just tell him I need some more time. But for now, here's some collateral.
Damn it, Frey! Damn you, Frey!
So, sorry, the sound effect out of nowhere caught me caught me off guard a little bit. All right, yeah, it does feel like you shouldn't stop and flip off your assailants on the other side of a chain link fence if one of them did just have a gun leveled at you. The fence of chain link is not going to help very much there. Like, that is kind of what's feeling weak about this. It's like the script is so mediocre, whatever, but it really feels like it's the direction of this that is falling apart. Like, the pacing of the scenes feels off, the rhythm is weird, the camera like the cinematography and the camera angle choices aren't like contributing or helping it all to flow. It feels like it's not, it feels like a whole lot of individual parts that to a scene that could work kind of okay in isolation, but all together are just kind of coming together in a weird sort of flimsy sort of way. But okay, we are to escape now. If you don't move fast, the game will catch up with you. You can run using left stick, jump using A. Try giving your pursuers the slip.
Damn it, Frey!
Given it's a wrong play, what if I don't? I don't have camera control right now, so I can't turn the camera around. I can certainly goof and not take my situation very seriously, which does feel a little bit in the spirit of the game, if I'm being honest.
Back here, Frey!
I haven't gone anywhere. Oh wait, they will eventually punish you for being an idiot. Okay.
You thought you could outrun us? Shit!
They do get you after a little bit though, don't they? Yeah, that's fair. They gave me a pretty extended grace period on that escape. Oh dear. Okay.
Damn it, Frey!
All right, I'm going, and I'm sprinting as well.
Get the fuck back here, Frey!
I'm
Running
going.
back now.
Oh!
You
Yeah,
okay?
it's stuff like, it's the tiny little things, like the
I'm so
fact that
sorry.
the speed at which it felt I was launching and vaulting over that fence there in gameplay then transitioning into me kind of very softly landing with very little forward momentum as soon as we got into the cinematic. Like, just little things like that, which are the result of two completely different systems done by completely different people. Like, it's your weird run, hold on. It's your weird, like, your gameplay, running, and parkour, and all those systems that they'll have been developing as a gameplay animation system. Then feeding into a cinematic, which was filmed on a set where they didn't have the exact context for how you were going to be entering the scene. They just had the performer sort of like, you just jumped off a fence and you landed in front of someone and someone fell right in front of you. It's two pieces that don't fit together in practice. And then to make that fit, to do that work, you need to then do a good bit of like fudging and editing of the motion of the character entering the scene, coming down from off of the fence in the cinematic. You'd need to try to maybe do something in the gameplay portion to like slow them down a little bit before the camera cut. Like, it's so many little things you got to fiddle with to make all these seams go away and disappear and iron them all out. And it involves a lot of people. And it's very tricky. It just takes a lot. I don't really think there's a lot of like, there's anything fancy about fixing that stuff. It's just a lot of time. And a lot of people having a lot of time to just painstakingly tweak and finesse all that stuff till it all just goes down smooth. But okay. Now we run, though. Stealthily. Nope, see, like, just little stuff like that. It's all these tiny little things where, like, the camera kind of lurching a little bit and then cutting to an angle that's close, but not quite the same angle you had a second ago to, like... This is just a whole bunch of stuff that, like,
I'll lose them when I get out on the street.
is just a little rough, and the camera's not helping. Neither the gameplay camera or the cinematography on the cutscenes feels like it is helping to make this action feel exciting and energetic.
Where'd she go? Huh? Well, fucking answer me! Where'd she go? We will find you, Frey! You will burn! Fuck!
It does sort of feel like a 90s B movie, doesn't it? It does kind of have sort of that energy.
Homer must be waiting for me. Better get inside before I freeze.
I have another suspicion too, that especially as soon as we get to some of those like some of those more notorious scenes with the dialogue that was like that everyone was sort of like cringing at, I don't even think it's the dialogue necessarily is the problem. I think that like just words on paper, that script is kind of like plenty of games have had as good or worse and it not felt that bad. I feel like there's lots of it's direction and cinematography in part. I also feel like the face animation on these characters is not totally working, and I know they did performance capture for a lot of it, so I'm feeling like maybe the face is not rigged up super well, or something about the captured facial data has not made it really onto the character model in a weird way. It feels like her eyes are very dead a lot of the time. Her like brows don't move as much as they should. Her face doesn't express as much as it should. It feels like her face, the character model's face, is not expressing nearly as much as it should, even in scenes where they captured a live actor's performance. And it like, that's also understandable. Like, just because you have performance capture does not mean that this stuff is just instantly good looking and easy. Like, you're absorbing a lot of that data, but then you have to run tons of processes and do all kinds of highly technical stuff to get that data onto the model, and then probably do a lot of polish on top of it to make it look as good as you want it to. It's like, none of this stuff comes for free. But it does make, if you have very like exaggerated and very energetic or even sort of like cheesily red sort of lines coming out of a face that's not expressing as much as it feels like it should, then it's going to make those lines feel even more weird. The archive records the details of any written materials you find, people you meet, and a host of other useful things. You can access it from the main menu. Review any useful information you've acquired. Have I acquired useful information? I don't feel like I acquired anything especially useful, but we have our character and others. Loading in the model and everything. It's a very visually flashy UI and menu and everything. Maybe a little distractingly so, but I've definitely seen worse. But let's look for Cat. Cat, where are you? It is true, we have not yet been isekai'd. We are pre-isekai. We are pre-isekai. This apartment is way too big.
The Holland Tunnel, site of my folks' great disappearing act.
Probably so, honestly, like...
Who leaves a newborn
My
baby
understanding
on the
of
street?
the size of New York
At least it wasn't
apartments
the Queens
that one can
Midtown
afford
tunnel.
if
That
you
would
are
be an
not
awful
fabulously
last
wealthy is, yeah, that very small. Probably also involving numerous roommates. So yeah, this is probably, yeah, oh yeah, considerably larger than the average New Yorker's, downtown New Yorker's apartment. But also kind of out of necessity because like navigating very tiny spaces with a 3D character and camera is an enormous pain in the butt. So that's kind of also just for like the sake of play. Like usually something fun that you'll notice in a lot of video games is that doors you go through, and I don't think this one's pretty actually reasonable. A lot of video game doors you walk through are weirdly large. Just because it kind of feels like they need to be in a game context. It's very strange. Can we read the escape plan? Sure. Let's see. Get enough cash. Take care of Gigan shit one last time. Food and carrier for Homer. Buy a ticket, Penn Station. Leave on the 23rd. I don't know if that is a deadline we're going to hit.
My favorite kicks.
Yeah, those shoes are not moving. That was not a prop built to be interacted with. That is part of the set. It might be that they just, like, ideally, if they had more time, they'd have done a more polished version of that in which he was actually, like, moving the shoes around. Or it might be that that's literally a model that's just part of the set dressing of the model, of the environment. That is not set to move at all. And so that character just has to sort of, like, play with the prop in a way that doesn't move it in any way.
She doesn't like this, but it's all I have. I wonder where Homer's at.
Do we need to kind of like look at everything before the cat is visible? This feels super like walking around the apartment and just like
tumble away to Wonderland.
Looking, like having a bunch of interactions, just sort of like stop and have a scene looking at stuff. This feels like a David Cage game right now. It feels like we just are like every part of this room and this apartment specifically feels extremely David Cage, right? Honestly, a lot of this feels very David Cage. And David Cage games don't tend to be super well written either. But better cinematography by far. Like, I think if you gave this game Quantic Dream like cinematography chops, that like this would like instantly shoot up like a letter grade in people's opinion of it.
Long enough, though.
If you haven't, all right, clearly, like, not everyone in chat knows who David Cage is, and that's fine. If you haven't played a David Cage game before, that's also fine. Don't worry about it.
Hey, Homer.
Hello, Cat.
I'm sorry I'm late, I know. Miss me? Oh, well, thank you, but my birthday isn't for another few days.
You know, that's
Tell you what,
not
I'm
too bad on the cat. The animation of it.
busy recently. Oh, well, you know.
The fur is
Things to
definitely off in a way, the same way a lot of the character hair is off. Like, that's not how
I'll let you in
It's
on a
just
secret,
sort of-
but I'm a pretty big deal.
where hair and fur tech for video games
Big deal.
is just sort of in the last 5 years or so. But
Everybody needs me.
I've seen way worse cats in
Getting out of the city, Homer.
even in AAA games.
Away from the assholes, the garbage, the cops. I thought it's just enough to get us started.
Actually, you know what? So I was just super dismissal of like Quantic Dream and David Cage
Promise
games.
we'll go somewhere that
I think
loves
it's okay to be
cats.
somewhat dismissive about David Cage,
ones like you.
like as a human, but Quantic Dream like has clearly got a lot of talented people over there. And though I think like, and I have enjoyed some of their games in the past. If you really like very story heavy games that kind of want to be sort of interactive movies and choose your own adventure movies in a way that just aren't especially well written, but are very like high production value on presentation,
Sleep. And we are out.
probably worth having a look at.
Can't wait to be any other place but this.
Is the voice actress Laura Bailey? No. The vocal performer is the same as the physical performer. The actress is named Ella. Shoot, what's her name? Hang on. I'm still in cutscene. I can look it up. Who's the performer?
Thanks, pal.
Ella Balinska. Thank you, Goofy.
Homer! Girl, come on, we gotta go!
Hey, thank you, Remdom01, for those 5 gift subs. It's very kind of you. I'd thank you further, but my apartment's on fire. One moment.
Homer! Come on, baby!
Oh, there you are, cat.
Homer! Oh, holy shit. Okay, we gotta get out of here, now! No, no, no! Fuck the bag!
Some of you may be wondering, it's like, oh, could you have gotten the bag if you looked at it first before going to check on the cat? Having seen this much of it to check and make sure that everything was running okay. No, if you look at the bag, then she just says, well, I gotta find Homer first.
Motherfuckers!
To be fair, her priorities are correct. Find the cat. Because the bag's not gonna hide in some near impossible to reach place. The cat absolutely will.
It was set by some local gang members. The suspects are still at large.
'Twas I who set the house ablaze. No, we're still not. We're still pre-Sakai here. Don't worry, we're getting there. I assume.
Frey, what happened to you? You look like hell.
Are you allergic?
What?
To cats. Are you allergic to cats?
No, I love cats, but are you in trouble?
Good. She likes wet food, the flaky kind, not pate. She needs a warm place to sleep, maybe a lap every once in a while. And she needs a bath, but good luck with that.
Frey, what's going on?
Her name is Homer. Promise me you'll look after her. Promise. Thank you.
What are you doing, Frey?
The right thing. I need some time to sort some stuff out, but I'll come back for her. It just might take a while.
Frey, wait. If you're in trouble, I can help you, Frey.
Happy holidays. All right. Homer's safe. Now what am I gonna do?
Why are we... Yeah, I don't... Whoever is in charge of cinematography in these scenes, I think they are, like... I think they're not helping. And I have no idea who is directing this, basically, but I feel like their camera choices, whatever the scene is meant to do, whether it's meant to be action exciting or dramatic or intimate or sad or funny,
Mom.
like the choice of camera angle and motion is not serving that half the
I'm gonna
time.
Fix things. Get Homer back. Finally get out of...
This does kind of have a remastered PS3 game feel, doesn't it? Like, and I think part of that is just so much of this does feel almost like kind of a PS3 era type game in so many sort of ways. Not like graphically necessarily, like just its sensibilities and a lot about it, but like it does sort of feel a little bit that way.
What?
There's something down there, eh? All right. Now, I assume, and in the spirit of wrongplay, we're going to test that walking directly off the ledge here in the direction of that thing would be a bad idea. The question is, will they stop me with an invisible wall, which feels bad, or let you accidentally walk off a ledge that you are very close to, which would also feel bad. There's a couple of ways that this could feel bad pretty easily. And invisible wall. Fair enough. This is an interesting ladder climb animation too. Like, it's feels very captured off of a real person, not hand animated. But they want it to feel fast because, like, moving up and down a ladder at actual human speed feels interminable. I don't know if that's the right word. It feels awful. It feels way too slow. So I think they've just sped it up a lot. But those, like, natural climbing down a ladder and having a lot of big kind of, like, twisting and shifting of your body to do that, speeding that up a lot. And I think, like, when you first start climbing a direction, it's a little bit closer to real speed, and then they speed it up. And going up, it's kind of okay, but down, because down a ladder is a little bit more awkward and you're more careful about it. That looks a little off.
It's beautiful. Nope, not getting in that way. Must be another way. definitely no one in here. Seriously? Who would just leave this? I mean, wow. Whoa. What? Oh. Oh.
Oh, sure, we'll save. Why not? Dan, are you planning to check out Hi-Fi Rush either on stream or on the channel? Yes. Yeah, that'll be coming next week. Sure. Yeah, next week we've got a one-off going on Playframe for it. It's very pretty. Hi-Fi Rush is a good time.
What the actual fuck? Whoa, wait, stop! Shit! Oh, no! Oh, come on!
Cameraman, you can move in. Yeah. Goodness. Hello, everyone. Hello, Book Club for Games and friends. Welcome. We're playing Forspoken incorrectly, but to learn about it. Hi, I'm Dan, by the way. Hello, what were y'all playing? What were y'all doing before you came here? How's Forspoken? It's rough, but, like, interesting, and not... It's definitely not great so far, but in a kind of charming, quaint way. It feels like an older era, like a PS3-ish era of game, almost.
Where am I?
Not necessarily, like, graphics-wise, but, like, in its sensibilities.
What's happened to me?
Oh, you were playing Inscription. That's definitely a better game than this, so I'm sorry you're coming to this, but this will hopefully be educational. My name is Dan. If you don't know me, I'm a professional game animator. I've been in games for like 9 years now, and I also run a channel called New Frame Plus that talks about video game animation. And yeah, we're doing a wrongplay, which is basically just playing a game weirdly to kind of like learn about it. So for instance, we are clearly being directed this way. The scene ended with the camera pointed in this direction toward a big bright thing with lots of interesting stuff out there. And I don't think there's going to be that much interesting to learn by going in a different direction, but I am just sort of curious. This is quite pretty and detailed. And not built especially well for traversal. Not designed with that in mind, clearly, the way we're just sort of like popping our little capsules popping up and down on this constantly. I wonder if it'd also be handled better. So, because like I know you do lots of like running and jumping and flying and just superhero movement through this game. I wonder if like we're in a kind of specific kind of locomotion that's just sort of like slow walk story mode right now. That's appropriate for the vibe. It'd feel weird if we were like sprinting forward at superhero speed in this moment. That would be tonally off. But it could be that this like sort of very simple medium close-up shots, walking is maximum speed, this specific locomotion doesn't really handle uneven surfaces well, and the surface was not designed for it. Does she have an aura around herself? A little tiny bit, maybe. I do often kind of notice that in, I don't know if she really does that much. I feel like I do notice that a lot in 3D games, that there is often just a very, very, very slight, almost seeming of aura around the character, as if someone like applied a Photoshop outer glow of like white to them, set at like 5%, just faded out a little bit. And I've never, like, I'm sure there's a good reason for that. And I've just never understood. It probably is to make the character, like, pop just a little bit. I feel like I see so many games do that. Like, I'm really curious about it. Go back on the rubble in the sunlight. We'll see it strongly. Ooh, okay. Yeah, let's see. She's definitely got, like, in the way they're lighting her, they're setting her up with, like, a kind of a rim lighting sort of effect on the outer edges of, like, clothing and stuff, even if it's not getting hit directly. Okay, so some of that y'all are seeing, like, around the hair and stuff. My suspicion is that's less like an intentional outer, like, aura outside her, and it's more an issue with, like, shaders interacting with the transparency of her hair. That the stuff that's being rendered behind her is not getting, like, certain passes applied to it. And that's not unique to this game. I feel like I see that in a lot of games. As soon as you get something like hair that has a lot of transparency to it, which processing wise, transparency can be very expensive, and hair can be very complicated visually. And, like, as soon as you start seeing things through or around hair, it's not uncommon to see some artifacts like that. Does it stabilize if you pause? That's a good question. A little, I mean, it like fades out, so it's kind of hard to tell. The fact that it's not moving when it's paused does stabilize a little bit, but then I don't know if it really looks considerably better, though. It is interesting, though. I feel like I can't imagine this is the case, but does this game have ray tracing? It does. Yeah, no, this does have ray tracing. I don't think it's super, like, wildly robust or evident all the time ray tracing, but, like, the effects you're seeing of the lighting, the purple of the sky out there, bouncing off of the floor on, here, as opposed to the warmer light bounce you're seeing from that light hitting the ground down here. Like, that's some of the ray tracing you're seeing in action. Ray tracing is something that it would really take someone way smarter than me to describe. But ray tracing is effectively trying to simulate light bouncing. Lighting is super expensive in video games, and so historically we have always done it with cheats. Like, actually rendering appropriate shadow and the ways that lights really behave is bonkers expensive to do in real time. Because in real life, like, light rays are bouncing off of and interacting with all kinds of things. In all kinds of complex ways. And we can barely, like, manage to... we can barely manage having just a handful of lights being processed in real time and casting shadows and casting a light in appropriate directions. So historically, until very recently in game history, we have had to just wildly find clever ways to cheat all that stuff to make stuff look real. And so, like, ray tracing is something that has started, like, appearing in more high-end video games in the last 5 or so years. And it allows you to actually do some of that fancy, like, reflection and a little bit of light bounce and stuff like that. It's still being wildly cheated and still nowhere near, like, what you would get, like, in a animated film, where they will do lots of ray trace rendering, but they will also take 14 hours to render a single frame. Or more. As opposed to doing 60 of them a second. So yeah, some extreme wild cheats are happening here, using shaders and a lot of fancy tech to try to simulate the look of something that took many hours to render. And it's honestly bonkers to me that, like, even this game, which is definitely not showing you the best that can be achieved with modern gaming technology and hardware and graphics and stuff, even this is, like, when I actually, like, try to think through all that is being done and processed and rendered in real time, is batty to me. I thank you for the 2 months, Book Club for Games. And the 5 months, Smug Rainbow Pony, like 4 minutes ago. Sorry, I almost missed it. Let's walk out of this room. There's going to be so many more interesting things outside of this room, I feel like.
Damn, that is a serious draft.
ray tracing is also very graphically intensive. So you need some pretty high-end video cards to like run it. We're on a pretty like beastly PC right now, kind of excessive. So like it's handling ray tracing just fine, especially considering I'm only running this at 1080p. I usually don't bother with 4K.
Whoa.
But we are now officially isekai now.
Where on earth is this?
Athia.
Who's there?
And technically not Earth. Well, not what you would call Earth, anyway.
I swear to God, asshole, show yourself.
Show myself. I've shown. I'm showing. I can't get more showed. Show myself in tears.
Where are you?
Right here, at the end of your arm. The thing that you so fruitlessly tried to remove. Oh, hello, yes. Oh, perhaps you're smarter than you look.
No.
Yes.
No.
The dialogue
Yes.
bug effect
You, the one
is
talking to me right now, or this...
not a great choice, I don't think.
Cuff? That's a bit reductive, isn't it? Cuff? Pfft. Gauntlet, maybe. Van race. Oh,
Yeah, that's really distracting. They shouldn't do that.
Van race.
I appreciate
it's
the thought.
definitely van race.
No. This is batshit bananas.
And yet, it's the truth. Stop your hurting me now.
Seriously?
No. But what you're doing is completely futile.
How is this happening?
Well, what were you doing before this was happening?
I was... Doesn't matter.
And here we are.
Whoever is doing this, stop. This is one sick joke. I am out of here.
You can't run away from me. I am literally attached.
You're right, I'm not allowed to move.
Why don't
Now I can
we
move.
settle down a bit and talk about ourselves? Talk about our interests in life, perhaps.
I am not hearing this. This is all a bad dream.
Oh, I saw something. Wait. Oh, okay. Can I get to it? Can I jump? I can't jump. Okay. I have to go around, I guess. Can I get there, maybe? No? Oh. You know what? It's fine. It's probably not that important. I feel like they maybe should have written a few more lines for if you were just sort of meandering around. That's fine.
Be careful not to trip on anything.
You can also see things? This cannot be fucking real.
Listen to me, Frey.
How the hell do you know my name?
We are bonded.
Bonded? What do you mean, bonded? Why is this happening? This is... No. On bond now!
As you can see, you're stuck with me, and I with you. And only you can hear me.
Stop! Stop talking! This is completely insane!
Frey, slow down. You need to listen to me.
No, what I need is to figure out how to get back. I thought I wanted out. I was wrong. I was in a bad place.
Well, this place might be worse, depending on how you look at it. Quiet.
What?
Hide.
Oh. That is a dragon.
Is that a motherfucking dragon?
Don't let it see you.
You think?
A lot of this just feels like weakly directed and not especially well.
Nothing out there?
Like a lot of choices were being
Sure, the
made.
creature is far away by now, and besides,
innocence.
What?
You won't
without
last long
without
innocence
with everything not
remains.
fully planned ahead yet.
Fine. And how exactly
Like
do you
scenes
plan on
being
getting
shot
I believe climbing
by
that
one group of
wall
people, or
might
like
be our best option.
on a mocap stage by one group of people who weren't really directly involved with anything that might have been going on with the actual gameplay side of things. There's a lot of choices being made independently that then all got kind of thrown together in a weird sort of way. Like the fact that when she goes down to hide, she hides behind a fallen over pillar that she can sort of hide behind a bit, but when she goes to like turns to kind of like sit and lean her back against it, the top of her head would still so clearly be visible to whatever she's hiding from because the prop is not as tall as the people on set maybe thought it should have been from the thing that she's expected to be hiding from. It's like stuff like that where if you've planned stuff out thoroughly on these shoots, then every choice the actor is making, every choice like the camera, like whoever's in charge of the camera and all that stuff will, like, if you previs this stuff out and plan it and have like places designed, all of it will come together in a cohesive feeling and right way, as opposed to the sort of disjointed, messy way that a lot of this stuff is coming together now. That's the thing, like, Amy Hennig was involved in this thing. Gary Whitta's involved in the writing of this thing. Like, these aren't bad actors either. Like, these are lots of capable, like, these are lots of very capable people. And, like, the Final Fantasy 15 crew is full of all kinds of capable people. But, a production can still very easily go bad without strong direction or with lots of miscommunication or with like, just development problems, making it so where that things as they were planned don't come together and you have to pivot, but you've got some stuff that's already built and made and you got to make that work with what you got later. Like, it's, games are a complicated mess. Hey, let's do a quick stretch break. Stretch and hydrate. Those are good reminders. Thank you. Yes, this is the Final Fantasy 15 team. They're called Luminous Studios because basically the Final Fantasy 15 like Business Division 2 or whatever they were called, Square basically like it's a very strange thing, but they basically like founded a new studio called Luminous Studio, which is basically a studio meant to create games using the Luminous engine that Final Fantasy 15 was made in. And they're like almost sort of like treated as a weird first party external team, even though it is still effectively the same team and studio. It's just with a different name. I don't entirely get it. It's very strange. But yeah, it's very weird. And it's kind of sad. I feel like games like this being a mess just make me feel sad. I feel sad for the people involved, especially given, like, how often do we get a black woman as the main character lead in a game, in a AAA game? Almost never. And for, like, that to be something that, like, for one of the few games to do that, to then come out messy and sort of just become a public laughingstock really bums me out. You'll occasionally be able to stop and chat with Cuff about recent developments. When this happens, simply pick a topic to start conversation. Oh, okay.
Hey, Cuff.
Oh. What are you exactly? How'd you wind up in that store? How did you become a bracelet? That's a good opener.
So, have you always been this?
Can I not move?
This chatty bling?
As I recall, no.
What do you recall?
So they...
I traveled here.
Names are weird, little prince. Before I was the king of all cosmos, I was the Greg of all cosmos.
I'm an outsider. When I arrived, there was a
It's
lot of
wild they're not
talk
letting me
about
move
the
for
Taunters.
this.
The who was?
The Taunters. They were 4 very powerful women who ruled Athia.
Because everything she's doing with her upper body could still be happening on her upper body while I just move with my legs, and that wouldn't look too wild. And it's not like they've got a specific performance really going on here. I don't think that moment or scene there is something that like was performance captured. Like that, it didn't look like they had any special data for her face. Just maybe a couple of expressions she shifted between. Very weird they weren't letting me move there. I wonder if we can turn that effect off. Let me, hang on. Oh, I can't pause here yet either. I'm going to show him my phone, though, because I'm super curious about that.
What in all creation is that contraption?
It's a smartphone. It's for texting, calling, games, videos, taking selfies, and... Which, by the way, I am not gonna explain to you, so don't bother asking.
I know what a selfie is.
Really?
Not really. What else can that thing do?
It also has GPS, which would usually tell me exactly where I am.
So where are you?
Somewhere between purgatory and hell.
It told you that.
Sure did.
I do kind of like the cuff. Cuff seems alright. I'm good. Can I get into a menu, though? Nope, hang on. Scene first.
Whoa. What the fuck was that?
Oh, one of my talents, if you will. It seems like there's a small settlement up ahead. Perhaps we can rest there.
Cuff has many powers, including the ability to show you the way to your next destination. If you wanted to help, press just hold up to have him point the way forward. At certain times, this feature won't be available. When this happens, an icon indicating this will appear. Okay.
And you know that how? What are you?
I really feel like they should let me
Extent
move
of
by
my
now.
abilities is nigh on limitless. I'm a vambrace after all.
Uh-huh.
There we go. Okay. Let's see if we can turn that effect off. I have my doubts, I'm going to be honest. Let's see. Units of measurement, speaker name, display, opaque, size, attack it, display, spellcraft challenge, cuff chat frequency can be set to high, default, or low. Cuff compass visibility, cuff compass, sprint button. I'm not sure they're going to let us turn that off, which is a bit of a bummer because, yeah, doing flashy things on your accessibility feature is not smart. Not great.
This is Athia?
Janoon.
Janoon. I thought you said...
Athia, big picture. Janoon, small picture. Janoon is part of Athia.
I get it. Like New York City versus New York State.
Exactly. I think. I have no idea what Newark is.
No, not Newark. New York.
Is there a difference?
About 1 million.
It is a pretty environment. Dog?
Hey, look at you.
I'd be careful.
Come on, don't be shy.
Seriously, I wouldn't. Let's just keep moving.
Why are you so freaked out by this fella?
That is very true, Ian. We've been moving at a very slow pace.
Whoa!
Because it's not as it seems.
That's a pretty cool
now?
monster
Shit.
design.
Well, don't just stand there.
That's pretty rad looking. Attack magic. Frey can use her unique bond with Cuff to call forth powerful offensive spells. Press right. Yes, Pichu, I know. Press right trigger to fire off a quick magical attack and hold it down to build up something more powerful. There are various attack spells available. Hold down right bumper to open a menu where you can switch between them. Okay.
What the?
Don't stop panicking now.
Okay, so sort of a little third-person shootery for this part. Yeah, that works. And it just sort of vanished.
Did I just do that?
Well, definitely.
See, okay, so this is a sequence that is being getting mocked a lot for dialogue.
I just
And
moved shit
I think it's
with
mostly
my
her
hands.
face. Her face is barely animating at all.
Woken some abilities.
I just
That's
moved
definitely
shit
way
with
less
my mind.
I just
actual
keep hearing
performance
hi,
than the
hi.
actor was
I
doing
just
on
moved
set,
it
guaranteed.
With my freaking mind! Yeah, okay, that is something.
So we get
I
like
do.
glimpses
I
of
do
it,
magic, talk to sentient cuffs,
but it feels like
kill
this
jacked up beasts. You know
face
what?
capture
I'll probably fly
is
next.
not translating to the
Oh,
character
that's
model
too
well.
far. Good to know there's a line.
If you could just master these new abilities, with my help, of course.
Did you not just see me take out that gnarly beast?
Oh, bring it, you mangled monsters.
And let's be like 100% honest, it's not like this dialogue is much worse than your average isekai. If we're being real. Come on. Listen, I've enjoyed plenty in isekai, I'm just saying.
Nah.
Let's keep perspective. Okay, let's see. I do agree, someone in chat said it earlier, and I do agree, like, it is a little bit of a bummer that the ranged attack you have here, it feels very light because it is just sort of a very, like, flick of wrist, it's like a very small physical movement that she does, mostly just holding the hand out. A thing zaps forward, and a lot of pretty particles fly everywhere, and there's a little bit of a, like, nice pop explosion when it hits the opponent, and that's good. But as a motion on her part, it feels very light, in part because it's so low effort. Like, there's a reason why in, like, sorry to invoke this, but in Harry Potter, when you started seeing duels in those movies, those wizards are like flicking wands in really extravagant, snappy ways. And they do that because even though the impressive part of the spell is the spell and the effect, like, them doing a, like, more extravagant, like, flick of the hand and stuff like that lends so much more, like, anticipatory, like, inertia and snap and power to that thing that then follows. And also, it's a great opportunity for them to, like, express and, like, the ways that different wizards and different characters use their wands and cast magic. It ties into, like, their sort of, like, body language, and it's a really smart performance choice that those films did. Whereas they could just totally have had all the characters just sort of like, I point the thing at you, sort of like a little flashlight, and zap. And it's just very boring. And then just, like, magic just sort of comes out on its own, like, zip, 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 and it looks like a really embarrassing, just, like, visual effect coming out of a character standing still. Like, they could do that way. It's magic coming from a wand. It could totally work that way, but it's way less exciting. So, like, and it seems like they're trying to make that work with this, and it's a tricky problem as well, because she could be, like, I can run in any direction while I'm doing this, so, like, the movement of her lower body is sort of being informed by me steering her around and trying to make the physicality of, like, shooting and zapping work with, like, a big extravagant flick of the wrist or arm or whatever else while I'm moving in any given direction. Like, that's tricky.
Yeah, like, what happened here?
But it does feel like it does feel like it's really lacking something, though. You remember hearing all sorts of things about how the performance on PC is hot garbage. Is it really that bad? No, it's not. I think people listen. I like Digital Foundry a lot, as well. Their stuff is so good. They do a great job. I think a lot of people, if they hear Digital Foundry be critical of something, instantly assume that it runs garbage on, like, PC or whatever the platform is. And this game absolutely does not look or run as well on PC as lots of other games. The fact that, like, there's, like, visible pop-in on things way sooner than there should be. Lots of the ways things are optimized is not great. On a weaker PC, this is going to really chug in ways that lots of prettier games don't.
Oh yeah, I'm talking to a fucking
But
cuff.
it runs fine. Like, or especially if you have a pretty chunky PC like this one, it runs just fine. There's definitely way better running PC games, though. It is. I'm amused that we're at an era of video gaming now, and it's kind of nice, honestly, that most of us can't really tell, like, how or why a game is looking better than other ones for the most part. Like, we need experts like the people at Digital Foundry to tell us at this point if we want to really argue about it. Because most of us really can't pinpoint or even, like, visually see what might be worse about two screenshots side by side until you get an expert like one of them, zooming in really close on a part of a screenshot on a part of a screenshot frame. It's And also, I expect most of what you hear about how bad this game is probably somewhat exaggerated. It's not good, but, like, I feel like this is going to be one of those games that just gets widely called, like, one of the worst games that came out in 2023, which is like, please, no. It ain't good, trust me, especially for, like, it stands out a lot more given how few AAA games there are that come out these days. But, like, Digital Foundry nitpick, and they should, like, they are getting really specific, and they are highlighting the successes and failings of various games on certain graphical fronts. But, like, there's lots of stuff that they would be very critical about, which many people would not even be able to notice. But sometimes the things they're critical of are things people can notice. Like, Pokemon Scarlet and Violet run horribly. This game is very fine, TM. So hang on, a thing happened a minute ago. Donald shouted, "Thank you very much, Zorlok Dark Soul. Are we not going to acknowledge the obvious parallels that with Hobson and Valse? Fish out of water, gains magical talking bracelet. There's even an Eldritch Blast." It is kind of true, isn't it? And she did just sort of stumble into it by accident by putting on a bracelet she shouldn't have. And then being stuck with it. It's actually very similar. I'm looking forward to the next session of that. I think we do it next week. I'm excited. Frey can drink... Sorry, I've been on the screen forever. Frey can drink healing drafts in order to restore her health. If her health drops to 0, it's game over, so if in doubt, use one. Let's play the video game. I've not been doing nearly enough of that. Hello. You're quite the angry little honey badger, aren't you? I can sort of feel the similarities to Final Fantasy 15 a little bit in some of the ways, like, sort of combat is presented and stuff like that. It's a very different combat system, but hello. Cuff's able to protect you from enemy attacks, reducing the damage dealt. You won't need to do anything to make him block, but you will need to keep an eye on your health. You can only do so much. They are really going wild on the particle effects on this. That's clearly something this engine can do. Athia is full of useful resources such as ore and medicinal plants. You just have to know where to look. They'll prove extremely useful in your upcoming journey, so be sure to snap up any you find. Okay. We should start moving faster through this, because I suspect this might start getting a lot more interesting and fun to play and watch once we actually have some powers to work with. More of them, rather. So yeah, let's start scooting.
Whoa. What the hell? What is this weird feeling?
That was a very sudden lighting change.
There seems to be some sort of malignant miasma in the air.
Okay, turning back now.
It doesn't seem to be affecting you, though, does it? Besides, I doubt there'd be much benefit in retracing your...
How does the magic feel so far? A little underwhelming, but it's more, again, kind of the
miasma?
motion on her part, more than the actual, like,
I suspect it might be
spells or damage or whatever else.
To look so peculiar.
So how come it doesn't affect me?
How come indeed? Could it be thanks to your commendable choice of traveling companion, perhaps?
Nope, not that. Definitely not that. Nothing but ruins. Looks like no one's been here for a while. I wonder how long everything's been in this shitty state.
Perhaps we should find somewhere else to search?
You can call upon Cuff's powers to help you detect nearby enemies and items. This can be extremely useful when trying to figure out what might be hiding around the corner.
There's something there.
Well, all right then. Support magic. Support magic provides a wide variety of effects that can help turn the tide of battle in your favor. You might want to slow down an annoyingly quick enemy, or even stop them in their tracks before launching your attack. Support magic is the key to doing so. You can cast your currently selected support spell with left trigger and open a menu from which you can select another with left bumper. Just be aware that after you cast a support spell, you'll have to wait a while before you can use it again. However, you can speed up this process by successfully landing a strike using attack magic. I feel like they could have gotten a couple of sentences cut out of that and streamlined it a bit, but I get the point. All right. How many of these do I have? I have bind and bind, I guess. Wait, okay, the other one's disperse. It's very small text. Causes flowers to spring up in a spot of your choosing that pick up nearby rocks and fling them at enemies. That sounds cool. Let's try bind first. Bind!
I'd say now's the time to strike.
Do I have other attack spells? I do. Scatter shot. Burst shot's what I've been using. Scatter shot fires a steady stream of rocks while charging and unleashes a high-impact long-range projectile when released. And shield shot creates a defensive shield while charging, which is blasted forward in pieces when released. Cool. Let me try I haven't done the charged burst shot very much at all. Let me
No shit.
try doing that some more. Oh yeah, that's pretty cool actually. Yeah, it does just feel like her physical movement needs to be bigger to really make this feel visually exciting instead of being kind of flat. And in a weird way, the particles, like there's a lot of particles, but they are so small and dense that it's kind of hard to visually see them a lot of the time. In 4K, that might be more noticeable. Like, it starts getting a little bit muddy here at 1080p, but at 4K, it actually might be a lot more impressive looking. I'll give them the benefit of the doubt on that one.
And of course now we have to deal with an even bigger one.
Lucky me.
Locking on. Okay, use right trigger to lock onto an enemy in view. When multiple enemies are present, etc. Okay, lock on. Did it. Let's try disperse.
Yup.
Yeah, it's just sort of turning into particle mud a little bit. Hello, large bear. Hey, I want to try using scatter shot.
Okay.
It looks very similar. Did I not change it? Using attack and support magic spells gradually charges your surge magic, eventually enabling you to cast an extra powerful spell. Hit both triggers to unleash it. Used at the right time, it can wipe out an entire opposing force in one fell swoop. Intriguing. Let's try it. That was kind of cool looking. I feel like I'm still on... No, I am on Scattershot. It still looks very similar. Maybe if charged looks different. Oh, okay, charged, it keeps on just sort of like... yeah, that was the difference. I needed to be holding it. Okay, I get it. I get it. They did tell me that, and I forgot. Do I have like an evade? I feel like I should have an evade. Boy, you're a sturdy one.
Here it comes.
If you manage to break your enemy's composure, they'll often open themselves up to a brutally damaging attack that'll exploit Cuff's capabilities to deal devastating damage. If you're close enough, you can simply press Y to unleash it. Not only will it inflict enormous damage, it can also restore Frey's health. Well, let's try. Running in close, is it Y? Yes. Yeah, this feels to me like a game where like the character animation needs to be pulling more weight in the combat stuff so far. Like they're trying to do a lot with big like effects, but it's not making up for the fact that all that is layered over some like character animation that's not really landing, I think. And yeah, I agree. I don't feel like sound design is selling the weapon impact as well as you'd like either. Let's see. You leveled up and earned some mana, which can be used to teach Frey new spells. In order to do so, you'll need to go to the magic section of the menu. Very well. To the magic section. You can spend mana here to learn new spells. Mana is gained by leveling up and can also be occasionally found out in the field. Let's add a new spell to your skill set. Hold down A to learn it. Flow. Okay. Enable high-speed movement in parkour. Hold down. Yeah, okay. This sounds like a fun one.
Not bad.
On the one hand, this sure does look fun, but on the other, it's sure not sure if it's worth it for $70. 40, maybe not 70. I agree. Like, I think all AAA games should be selling for 70 now as standard. But I do also think that if like this looks interesting to you, I would wait till it goes on sale, which it almost definitely is going to. Okay, we're in trouble.
It might be wiser to run this time.
No kidding.
You've unlocked the flow ability, which enables you to perform magic parkour. You can use this to break into a sprint and escape your enemies, automatically scaling any low-level obstacles in your path. This is, I feel like, where the visually impressive stuff might happen. So I'm excited. Let's see.
Okay, this is awesome. I am catching some serious air.
Very impressive. Just try not
Yeah. Okay. So this stuff is pretty cool.
to a serious regret.
This I like. Oop.
I could run like the wind.
This feels like where they put a lot of attention to that system.
Where the hell are we now?
The big city, I suppose?
Hello? Anyone home? Say something if you can hear me.
Not a sound. Well, let's keep looking. You should probably keep an eye out for somewhere to rest, too.
MDH writes, I think that person's probably right. I don't think it'll be 80% off, but this is a game that's going to be selling for 40 or 30 probably pretty fast. Well, I don't know how Square Enix usually is with that. Square Enix, like, they're the publisher. They may just leave it higher price for a while, but I could see this going a pretty deep discount pretty fast. Because I don't think it's going to sell especially well. Okay. It's easy to lose your way in the world, so make use of destination markers to have Cuff help you find the way. Any destination you mark will also be tracked at the top of the screen. Cool. Gives an overview of the surrounding area with your local location at the center. Your recent movements are also tracked. There's a place nearby where you can take a well-deserved rest. Set a marker with A to help you find your way there. Okay. I have done it. Magic parkour allows you to explore your surroundings with acrobatic ease, climbing tall buildings in mere moments and scaling obstacles as if they weren't even there. Why not hold down B and see what you can find in the town around Junoon Castle with this new skill at your disposal? Maybe I will.
Is there not a single person left?
It very much seems that way. Perhaps this
Ah,
ultimate
there we go.
sweet
Come on.
air drove
Come
the
on.
escape to safer climes.
Attack an enemy without them spotting you, or get in a strike from the side or behind, and you'll sometimes inflict an extra powerful critical attack. This is more likely if you attack from behind than from the side. If you're clever, you can check the lay of the land ahead with Cuff, scan, and position yourself for an advantageous start to battle.
Hope so. At least that would mean they're still alive.
So does this mean I'm getting... Okay, so yeah, like that first attack was a little stronger.
That'll do it.
Because they've not detected me quite yet.
That'll do it.
Yeah, I feel for the people involved in this. It's clearly, like,
That should come in handy.
not entirely coming together. And the tutorialization of these systems, which, like, none of this is very complicated mechanics-wise yet, right? Like, this is all pretty straightforward. I don't have a lot of buttons I have to keep track of. It's like left trigger to do, like, utility magic, right trigger to do some form of shoot, right bumper to, like, choose different, left trigger to choose different for the other one. Run, jump, and hold down B to do magic parkour. Like, that's about it, really. And boy, you can't get moving, though. It feels like they could have taught all of this a lot quicker and with far fewer words by just sort of, like, setting up how you were introduced to each situation where you'd want to use each thing.
Well, this place is fun.
I imagine it was once. Happy, smiling faces on every corner. I can picture it now.
Damn. Everything just looks broken.
Not exactly the most poetic of descriptions, but yes, I suppose it does.
I feel like that's kind of the most disappointing thing about all of this. Like, the real reason that this game is not great isn't that the dialogue is snarky or that it is, like, doesn't really have full AAA polish. It's just that, like, it feels like it's playing it very safe. I don't think everything else I've heard about the game seems to suggest that it kind of stays this way too. It really just feels like a very by the numbers kind of open world action game without a whole lot mechanically really to make it all that interesting or set it apart. And then, like, so if the game itself is not bringing anything that's all that remarkable or interesting, and then also the presentation is all just falling flat, like it's really not got a lot to offer, which is a bummer. Let's see. So, the world Frey finds herself stranded in is seemingly devoid of people. Buildings stand ruined, and vicious monsters roam the ravaged land. Frey christens the strange phenomenon that seems to be the cause of all these problems, the break.
Is there nowhere that's not, like, broken by this shit?
I suppose there might be somewhere.
I gotta give him credit, though.
No
Like,
one there. No one at all.
So,
Where the hell?
and this is really more of a dunk on other Square Enix games that I love a lot more than this one. It's that, at least this game is, like, one of the few that Square has produced that, like, where the characters are at least trying to sound like normal humans do when they talk, saying things humans might.
We should be safe here.
Like, they're not landing it,
Good.
but at least they're
I'm
trying
exhausted.
this time. This does feel, Infamous does feel like the game that this is closest to. If you like the idea of what this game seems like it kind of is going for, then the Infamous games are not a bad idea to try out. And honestly, you should probably just if you haven't played Insomniac Spider-Man, just do that, because that's a even more better version of this. Like, Insomniac Spider-Man is very good. And it is also kind of a big open world explore, move through it quickly, do lots of tasks, but it has polish in spades. It is very fun, well done, just good old time. And also set in New York. With a wisecracking hero. Very expressive, like, fast-paced navigation of the open world area. Much more exciting combat. It's very, very good. Highly recommend. Yeah, and Insomniac is definitely, like, they are good at what they do consistently. Does Spider-Man have a cat? Does Spider-Man have a cat? Miles Morales does. In a backpack. The cat helps you fight. Only on one suit, but the cat helps you fight. There's a takedown where the cat is involved. And they didn't have to, and arguably shouldn't have, animated that and gone to the trouble of it, but doggone, they did. Is the cat also named Spider-Man? That's right, I forgot. I am, one, excited for more Spider-Man from Insomniac, but also very curious about the Wolverine game they are working on. 'Cause that's a very different, like, a very mechanically and tonally different hero. And I'm sure they'll still kill it. I'm just curious.
Oh, nice. I could use a rest.
Yeah, Insomniac's doing the Wolverine game they announced a year or two ago. It's been a while since anything came out about that. They just had a teaser trailer. I'm guessing we're still a year or two at least out from that, but I don't know whether that or Spider-Man 2 will come first, but
Sounds like trouble.
Yes, and given what
excited
we've
to
seen
see.
so far, I'd say you need to be very careful in case you're planning on investigating.
That's blue. Why is it so blue? Is it meant to be blue?
What is it now?
Okay, it is. I was about to say, did something go wrong?
Is this the break shit's doing too?
I believe so. It corrupts everything it touches before destroying
Yep.
it completely.
Oh, they're gone.
Hurry up and get out of here while you still can.
Okay. Run!
Oh, fuck! What now?
Well, for starters, I think we should run.
Too late for that.
That's a big dragon. Now, on the one hand, you are right, the break is not a great name. But on the other, again, for like coming out of a Square Enix team, like, we've seen worse. Let's see. Evasion, there, finally. You can use magic parkour to dodge enemy attacks in battle. Press B at the right moment to take a quick step out of the way. You can also hold down left bumper while not left bumper, just L and B, while performing magic parkour to evade automatically. You'll find that different enemies require different evasive approaches. Okay.
What the hell do I do here?
Fighting might be an idea.
How the hell am I supposed to fight a dragon?
Anything that big must have a weak...
Don't interrupt yourself, game. Certain powerful attacks can pierce right through Cuff's defenses, dealing a lot of damage if Frey doesn't evade them in time. If you see the telltale signs of an enemy building up to one of these, press B or press and hold that to get out of the way fast. These are much more verbose than they need to be.
What's the matter? Frozen with fear?
That's not doing much.
Good news, everyone. I think we found the weak point. One thing that I think on an animation front, they're not entirely nailing, even though I'm finding the, like, magic speed and parkour stuff fun to do. It's definitely, like, good feeling compared to a lot of this other stuff. I think they've not done a great job at
Nope, not working.
You were saying?
kind of marrying the physicality of the naturalistic, real human person actor doing most of the performance stuff and the, like, Kingdom Hearts ass jumping and flipping and everything I'm doing when I move around. Like, Sora doesn't move like a real person all the time. He moves like a little, like, anime, Disney-fied anime cartoon boy. And so when he's doing all of the Kingdom Hearts stuff, it just feels exactly like the rest of what he's doing, just more energetic. Whereas here, it feels like she's suddenly just becoming a completely different character in person. And that's a hard balance to strike. But, like, it can be done. Again, like, Insomniac Spider-Man, switching kind of between modes of, like, superhero Spider-Man mode and regular human moving around mode is something that they, like, they handle the switch between those two really well.
Oh, come on.
Let's try using a different, or cutscene, that's fine too.
That's not a good thing, is it?
Yeah, Devil May Cry does some great stylized attacks as well. You can definitely do it. It just feels like this game's not making the crossfade between the two as effectively as they need to. How long has parkour been a video game trope now? Since Assassin's Creed mostly, but also we just realized, you know, if you're gonna be like getting around a lot of places quickly, this is, well, one, it's a somewhat more realistic way to get around things and like traverse complex spaces quickly, and also it looks cool. And now, like, everyone just sort of feels like, well, it might as well do something kind of parkour-y. And I get it. Like, if I have to animate a character jumping and climbing around a whole lot of different stuff, I sort of want to at least make it look visually interesting too, so it's probably going to start, like, drifting in a parkour direction. Like, Prince of Persia did that stuff first in, not so much in the parkour sense exactly, but in the very, like, acrobatic navigation. I feel like they weren't using as much, like, parkour choreography and movement exactly in the influence. It's definitely a Ubisoft thing that, like, Ubisoft definitely kicked off the trend of it, though. And old Prince of Persia is great. Unblockable attacks are even more deadly than piercing ones. They can't be blocked or evaded. Deal a huge amount of damage. If you see telltale signs of an enemy building up one of these, find something to hide behind or use magic parkour to put some distance between you and the foe fast. Okay.
Okay, this is bad.
Failed to do that.
Take cover.
Yeah, no. I'm going to try I haven't used shield shot yet. Let's try that one.
That's the stuff. Keep at it.
I don't know how well it's gonna work for me, but can I do anything here or just... Okay.
Has anyone ever told you how
I think I'm winning, sort of.
Hey, fuck off.
This is feeling, with the lighting and the effects though, this is feeling
there? That must be its weak point. I knew it would have
very
a weak point.
busy. Like just sort of
Hey,
not nearly enough contrast and just sort of like visual chaos mud a little bit.
You all right?
he's all right as it can be.
Try using the scatter shots more. I feel like that was... It felt like that was chipping away health slightly faster. Ow.
Beast what it means to mess with a vamp race.
Like, this is kind of visually impressive, but it is art design-wise, like, just a little bit tricky to parse.
Let me guess. I'm gonna need more cover.
And quickly.
Yeah.
Cover. Yeah. Or just running fast.
Don't worry, you're not gonna die. Unless you get hit.
That's your idea of encouragement?
It's not great dialogue, but again, I want to say, like, that exchange right there, that, don't worry, you're not going to die unless you get hit, of course. That's your idea of encouragement. I feel like if we'd heard that in Sonic Frontiers, that would have been praised. As funny dialogue. Yeah, having this visual effect of all just very pale blue is not aesthetically helping this, I don't think. It's just feeling drab.
Do you think it's dead? The dragon?
Well, it did get crushed by all that rubble.
It's just a more saturated gray. It would be good to Sonic isn't high praise, and you're totally right. Like, I'm not saying that it is good, but I am more saying that, like, I feel like the dialogue in this, I don't feel is all that good on the page or as it is delivered, either in the reads or in the presentation or both. But I feel like it is being criticized maybe a little excessively compared to a lot of bad dialogue we routinely let slide.
What? How does that thing not even have a scratch?
Dodge rolls. If you use magic parkour while preparing a spell, you can make it an even bigger evasive maneuver than the usual quick step. Preparing an attack or a support spell, then hold that to give it... Okay.
Doesn't look like we'll have much cover here. Let's hope the dragon stuff doesn't succumb here.
Yeah,
Which to
lock
blast
on.
us with its vision of death again.
Ugh, just can't catch a break. What the fuck? Where'd it go?
Far, far away.
And listen, sure, like, a lot of this banter back and forth between them is not interesting.
Frey, you need to
But is it any worse, really, than Donald saying he just found some ingredients?
Are you trying to get me killed?
It has a blind spot. Trust me. Keep at it. I think you're finally getting somewhere.
Whoa, whoa, whoa.
You'll need to predict its movements if you want to stay alive.
Ah. Ah.
I feel like this very blue, very, like, kind of cloudy, like, hard to see, like, this would be a cool phase, like, moment to have in the fight where, like, you had been in a battle that had, like,
Hey, yo, back the fuck off.
cool, like good visibility, just a cool set piece area. But then like the dragon kicked up a whole big storm, and suddenly it was like, oh, it's dangerous now. Sort of like that, the like Mergo's Wet Nurse, that like specific attack they do in Bloodborne where the everything goes super cloudy and they just start coming at you out of the fog with a whole bunch of attacks and stuff, and it looks rad. I feel like that this could have been kind of that if it wasn't the whole fight.
Stung a little.
No time to recuperate.
This is not UE5, no. This is the Luminous engine, the same engine and the same developers as Final Fantasy 15.
Stay alert. Try to work out where it will attack from next. Show him what you've got. You know there's nowhere to run, don't you?
Fuck!
And off we go. Plot twist, Sora learns to swear in Kingdom Hearts 4. If Kingdom Hearts 4 is gonna have us go to Final Fantasy worlds, or go to Square Enix property worlds instead of Disney ones, which is my prediction,
Yeah.
then maybe he'll go to Nier World, where he'll definitely learn to swear.
But you'll die if you fall from up here.
5 minutes with Kaine and Sora is gonna be irrevocably changed.
Anyway, asshole.
Oh, this is exciting. Are you all right?
I think so.
What happened? I'm not sure what happened. In that moment of action.
There's a town up there.
Hopefully one that isn't deserted.
Well, you'll never find out if you don't go and see.
What happened? I mean, yeah, like, I'm glad that sequence is over. I can see better now, but I don't... That can't be what they originally wanted to happen. I'm not saying that that was a bug or anything. That's definitely, like, what happens in the game now. I just feel like that definitely can't have been what was originally planned. That is... Yeah, this feels rough.
Oh, hey! Hey! Over here! Oh, we're saved. Huh? The hell?
Move, monster!
Hey, the fuck you calling monster?
The monster speaks!
Yeah, of course I speak. And put your pointy stick away, asshole.
Move!
All right, moving.
Whoever said that this feels like a 90s B movie earlier on, like, it increasingly actually kind of does.
Why are they speaking English?
It's my experience that languages share commonalities across many dimensions.
They fear me.
Okay.
Back, all of you,
Answer works for me,
weaklings.
I guess.
Quiet! Keep moving, fiend!
Of course. Back in court.
That's right. Cower before your new god. Back, all of you. Yeah, this is all messy and just like roughly directed, but also it feels like very cobbled together. Like there were bigger plans for all of this, but the stuff that they did manage to get done like didn't come together as like well as they hoped, and then there was lots of stuff they just had to kind of slap together with duct tape to get it just shippable.
Who are you, child? Who are you?
I would humble thyself and answer their questions.
I got this. I'm used to repping thyself.
I don't think you comprehend the gravity of your situation.
I gotten myself out of much tougher scrapes than this, thank you very much. So why don't you shut your shiny mouth and let me do the talking?
Look at her. She speaks with invisible beings. Is she in cahoots with demons?
What? No.
This actually does feel similar. It feels similarly cobbled together as the back half of Final Fantasy 15 does in a lot of ways, actually.
Frey Holland. I do not know how I got
poor team
here.
can't
I am
catch a break.
exhausted. I am starving, and all I want is to go home.
Her vestments are strange. Where is she from?
Hell's Kitchen.
You see? She is Hell's spawn. How else could she survive in the corruption? Please. How did you emerge from the corruption of Junoon unscathed?
I wouldn't exactly say unscathed.
We are now getting some fun costume design, though.
Are one and the same. We must execute her immediately.
Wait, what? No, that's crazy. I don't even know how I got here.
Please listen to me. I believe we need her.
Who wishes to address the council?
Forgive me. I am Odin Keen. All this woman is guilty of is surviving the corrupted lands. We have much to learn from her.
The fade to black and fade black back in, what we're seeing a lot in here is also kind of like making this feel a lot more slapdash, like lots of scenes that are separate little bits of scene that are getting kind of like stitched together, but they it's either a very like yet another bad directing and cinematography and editing choice, which could be because we've been seeing a lot of those, or it is just a case of sort of like stitched together and cobbled story moments and scenes that just didn't get the full, just weren't pulled together in a nice, neat way.
Please, Councilwoman Beled, your ruling is too harsh.
That third council member from the right, though, is that the same actress they got for Star Wars Jedi? Fallen Order?
Please! What? Oh, hell no, I'm not getting locked up again. Let me go.
Because it looks like her face.
Go. Don't touch me,
She's cool. I'm looking forward to that sequel. Like, Star Wars Jedi Fallen Order was like a little rough around the edges in some places, but a lot of fun. And boy, that studio makes fun games. Really sad the Apex game got canceled. Didn't just I thought it was just the mobile version of Apex Legends that got, that is getting taken down. I think like Apex Legends is still going fine, as I understand it. Oh, a standalone Apex game? Oh, a Titanfall game. Yeah. No, I'm sad the Titanfall game got canceled too.
Get up.
Titanfall deserves so much better than it has gotten. Both Titanfall games are good. Titanfall 2 is great.
Get up. Get up.
Well, we're in jail.
Get up! Get up! Get up!
Look, I am imprisoned 1,000,000 miles from home in a Ren Fair nightmare.
Yeah, if you're looking at this and feeling like, I've not really had like a good single player, just kind of single player popcorn game to play in a while, buy Titanfall 2 instead.
Leave me alone.
It's a first-person shooter, so a very different game. But man, Titanfall 2 is good.
Is my fault. This is all your fucking
tell me
fault.
how exactly this is my fault.
Can we just not talk?
Fine. Fine by me. Suit yourself. I'd love a bit of silence.
Fantastic.
And yeah, Titanfall 2 is like sold for so little money all the time. It's wacky. Yeah. No, there's plenty of games worse than this one. but it's not super often we see a big, huge AAA production that is this like cobbled together. Like we don't.
You know, I never.
The number of AAA games coming out every year at this point is actually pretty darn small, and most of them come out at least being like okay, or kind of pretty, or very pretty and boring, or like interesting but not the like decent. And this is very mediocre and not entirely working in a way that a whole lot of AAA games, when there were a lot more of them coming out, a lot of AAA games were like this. I think that's why, to like me and some of the folks in chat, this feels like a PS3 game remaster. Because like back then, yeah, there were lots of AAA type games that were coming out and just really not sticking the landing in so many different ways. This kind of has that vibe, that energy.
Freedom through there.
No shit.
We don't really need AAA anymore. I don't think that's true. I think
Damn it,
the
this is
AAA
going nowhere.
industry is very important to this medium at large. Especially since the engines that AAA games are being made in are also now being used by are also being used by tiny indie teams.
How hard is that to
So all of like the tools and tech that are being developed for big games are things that small teams and studios have full access to as well.
I'm not sure why you're
And we have a very, very like lush double A industry at this point. Like, if you want to call it that. There's so many games like that.
You already think I'm in
There's so many games that come out that are smaller budget efforts than this. They're not indie. They're bigger than that.
Do you expect me to know what that
But they're not like
Look,
going for the
your
biggest
way, and now
budget,
we're gonna try it my way.
blow you away, God of War Ragnarok thing either, right?
Did I just do that?
Quick, put this on.
Who's there?
I will free you, but you have to put it on and do as I say. Okay, it's on.
You. You're the one who
And there are a
stood
lot
up
of
for me.
AAA games, honestly, that like
Why are you doing this?
I understand like lots of AAA games may not be to various people's tastes, and that's okay. And that's honestly increasingly okay and understandable because if there are fewer and fewer of them out there and more of them play it safe, and there are just sort of like fewer kinds of AAA game to experience, then like if that
Where are we going? What's
narrow
wrong?
band of game experience isn't to your taste, then like then all of them are just gonna be like, they don't really grab me.
All right, wherever we're going, there's got to be food.
Well, this is serendipitous.
You're telling me.
Did you say something?
I can totally understand that.
No, please, after you.
But there's still a lot of great AAA games coming out.
You sure this is a good idea?
And we're
I mean,
like,
aren't you gonna get
I'm ragging
yourself
on
in
Square
trouble?
Enix a lot
Don't
here,
worry about me. Besides,
but
I couldn't just
that's one
stand
thing that
idly
I have
by while
been
they treated
loving
each
so
other.
much about Square Enix in like recent years is they're one of the few studios who are actually still putting out weird AAA things.
You mean the Council of Sepul? They're the leaders of our city.
There are
Settle all
so
our
few.
disputes.
Judge and jury all rolled into one, huh?
Like weird AAA has almost entirely disappeared. Except for Square Enix output and Kojima, and that's it. End of list. And the fact that they still get budgets and
As
many
you can
times
see, our land
sell
suffers.
makes me very happy.
Everything that corruption touches.
It breaks. Yeah. I saw it up close. It's real fucked up in there. Not pleasant.
Indeed.
Nintendo can be pretty
Athia's
weird
all
at
but
times too.
lost.
Yeah, that's fair. Nintendo can do
Where
lots
did
of
the
weird. Like
white
they do
shit come from?
they do more
I'll tell you
like
soon enough. We
sort
must
of
keep moving.
cute and appealing weird. less blatantly weird a lot of times, but I think that's a fair point. They just have their own unique brand of weird that we've all gotten very used to. Yoko Taro does AAA, but it's also, like, Nier games are Square Enix productions as well, so I'm counting them kind of in the same general category.
So where are we going exactly?
We should make our way to the lower city.
Mario and Rabbids is
Lower
definitely
city.
weird. That's
Got
true.
it.
It's a fair point. It's very weird and very good.
What were you even doing at the courtroom?
No one has arrived from outside the city for many years. Everyone in town wants to know who you are.
The price of notoriety, I guess.
After what you called the break shit.
Let's just go with the break.
After the break occurred, people.
I don't know, the break shit's got its appeal as well, names-wise.
Last bastion.
Damn.
I would advise staying off the main thoroughfares. Less chance of being spotted.
Sonic games are their own category of weird, and definitely not AAA either at this point. Like, Sonic games haven't been
You're right.
AAA budget productions for a long time. It's kind of a like fuzzy definition though. Like the AAA category, there's AAA and then there's AAA, right?
Wow, nice digs.
Like someone was earlier saying that like Nier games aren't really AAA games, that they're more like a single or double A that are just stretching their budget. I'd argue they're still pretty AAA, but they're not as AAA as The Last of Us 2 or Red Dead Redemption 2. Like once you get up into like the massive budget type stuff, there's still quite a range of budget and production and visual quality type thing. And there are lots of like AA games that manage to like lower budget productions that manage to still look very, very good and graphically impressive despite not being as huge a scale production. It's just very like they're fuzzy definitions. And so trying to get like super specific about what fits into what game fits into each category is kind of a fool's errand because it's just like our terminology is not I don't think it's meant to be a super clear delineation, but it's just more of a general vibe and category. There's indie, there's AAA, and then there's the big, vague, muddy middle. You'd argue that AAA didn't exist in the 16-bit era? Alternatively, you could say only AAA existed in the 16-bit era, because nobody, like, individuals could barely make, like... It's fuzzy because it's almost sort of like one group, right? Like, you had to be in a company to make a game, for the most part. There was not really... You had to be able to get it, like, onto cartridges and stuff that you could then ship and put on store shelves, which is not a thing, and like, an individual can do. Except for certain, like, strains of PC game, and even then, like, those weren't generally single-person affairs, like... But you're definitely right that it was much more, like, games were not nearly as big budget productions then. Final Fantasies were made in less than a year by a team of, like... What, 15, 20?
You are safe now.
Thanks.
We are
The industry's
close to
come a
where
long
I
way.
live. Come, I have food.
Bit of a half-hearted thank you, I must say.
Nobody does anything nice without.
I guess it's feeling kind of telling. We haven't really been talking about this game for what feels like a half hour.
Trust me.
Have we all kind of gotten bored of this game?
You
Should we
and I
just
have
move on
the
and do
Holy
something
Alliance
else?
at best. I couldn't get rid of you even if I wanted to.
She did just risk her own life to get you out of jail.
Point taken. Plus, she promised me food.
And don't you want to know what she wants? It's quite the mystery.
No, we should hold off on Holocure. There's a big update to that coming in like 9 days. At which point we will definitely do some more Holocure streams because I'm excited for that.
We can speak freely here. I am Odin Keen, daughter of Roby.
You're playing more Sonic Frontiers.
Well, I'm Frey Holland.
Oh boy.
Daughter of who the F knows.
I don't
Vampire
know
survivors
how to
and peanut
respond.
butter and pickle sandwiches.
It's
It does
okay.
sound like a
Boring
Wednesday night for
story.
you.
I'm over it.
Liar.
My father was a notable cognoscent.
Cognizant?
Cognoscent.
You say tomato, I say tomato. Tomato, tomato.
You are very strange, Frey. Cognoscents are Athia's most highly respected scholars.
It's so
And
difficult
my
to
mother
tell
was a
what they're
general.
going for here. Like if they
That is a lot to live up to. Wait, was?
like
I've been on my
we've been
own
doing a really
almost
long
my
stretch
whole
of just
life.
kind of story
That's
here,
like- I don't have any parents.
but without a
I've
whole
some
lot to
foster
really
homes,
like get
but
us invested
they
in
never
it.
really
But
stuck.
like if they'd had managed to get us invested in a lot of this
That we
yet,
got
like by
royally
this
screwed.
point,
That we must help
a long
others.
stretch of wandering around and kind of
Tomato,
talking and sort of sneaking, but not really. Like I've barely been paying attention to what I've been doing when I'm in control, which is not often at this point.
This is my
Um,
home.
You live in a bar?
Above.
I like you more and more. So about that food? You had this on you the whole time?
I needed you to follow me, Frey Holland, daughter of who the F knows.
Just phrase fine and well played. Well, thanks for the jailbreak, lady.
But every now and then you can get like a little glimmer of like the version of this game
wait.
that would work
help
and
to save my
land
homeland.
and be engaging and cool and with like
That's not happening.
bits of scenes and characters and stuff that would like
Unbending
would
light, the
grab you as
rushing
well.
sound.
Which
That's
again
what
just
brought you
makes me
here,
sad.
yes? You want to go back home, don't you? I may be able to help you.
I'll give you to the bottom of a drink. Nice. Looks like one of those medieval themed bars. Hey!
Sorry, I didn't see you.
Give it back. One. Second rule of pickpocketing.
Face on the kid is good. Why
never
is the
give
kid's
back what you
face
stole.
animation good? Like face animation good.
First rule.
Don't get caught.
What is it anyway?
Something that ain't worth crap.
Why is her
here.
face capture working where
Oh.
nobody else in the games
Does it
is?
work anything?
That's
Why can't I
good.
have it?
Nice try, Munchkin. Now scram.
What's going on? It's like they got the
A pint of your finest ale, my good sir.
It's like they got the capture was working right for the kid more than it was for any of the others here, or that.
Oh, hell of a kick. You guys
Boy,
do
who
not
knows?
mess around.
Now, like some moments here, like
All
the
right,
other
so this is
the
gonna
other
last long.
character here,
My
her
father
face is not
researched the
as expressive
phenomenon
as
of
it
the
maybe
Tirana
should quite be. Like
Toronto?
around the mouth or the brows, there
tunnel of
seems
light
like there needs to be a
travels
little bit more movement, but there's a little bit more life
All
there.
the answers you need.
This scene already feels like it got a little bit more love than some of the other, or got a little bit more like time and attention and
In
polish work than some of the
return,
others did.
I want you to find his research notes on the break. They
They're seeing a lot
in
more
the
of that,
break,
just sort
right?
of expression and small movements in the
Does not seem
face.
to have any effect on you.
So they say.
Many have tried to find what's outside the city, but they don't get far before.
Before what?
You are the only hope we have. You're special.
Okay, you obviously
I
don't
would be
know me.
surprised if we get a no-clip documentary on this one. I feel like we don't got a lot of in-depth documentaries on,
I want proof.
like,
Follow me. and
like
I'll show you.
Japanese
And
game,
thank you.
like,
I haven't said
productions,
yes.
especially ones that aren't successes.
Do you believe her?
I suppose anything is possible. Some chance is better than no chance.
I do not want to go back into that hellscape.
Come on, it will be fine. I'll be with you after all.
Not comforted.
It's very surprising to me how little of the game is actually, like, the game so far. I know we've been moving at a kind of leisurely pace because I've been stopping to talk a lot. And that is definitely skewing the results here. But we had, like, a brief little time running for a short stretch, fighting small, like, gaping bear
Yes.
enemies.
It was painted when we were at one of
Some
the
larger
village
bears, a dragon fight that was kind of a different sort of thing. And since then, it's been all cutscenes, walk and talks, and weird stuff. It's, yeah, like...
So your dad's notes are in Praenost?
Yes. He brought me here to keep me safe from the break.
Yeah, I feel like...
But it wasn't long before
I feel like
we
our
got
collective
back to
interest is
Mrs.
flagging
Frey.
on this one.
That was 20 years ago.
Maybe we'll just skip to a hangout. Maybe we'll skip to a just chat for like kind of for like the next half hour or so.
Eventually overtook everything outside the city.
We should rate something. I haven't prepared for it. Like usually I've like built the tier list ahead of time. But I'd be down for that too. If y'all can, if we can find something good here. All right, hang on. Let's pop out of this. Let's switch to this. I already know here. We'll go more realistically to that. We'll switch to just hanging out. Because I think we're all getting bored with Forspoken. We learned a little bit, and it was interesting. But I feel like we're all starting to get tired of it. Yeah. My sympathies for everyone involved in Forspoken. That's not how anybody involved wanted that to turn out, and that's always a bummer. I feel for them. Here, let me go to... Here, I'm going to pull up tiermaker.com, and y'all suggest we can totally try doing a ranking. The problem is I'm going to have to like actually find somebody who's made a good one of whatever we come up with to rate, just for funsies. Or we can just hang out. I'm totally down for hanging out for a little bit too, honestly. You know what, let's just hang out. Let's, rather than trying to find and wing it and try to do some sort of rating last minute, we can just hang for a bit. I'm down for that. Listen to some good tunes. Chill. It's getting pretty late for some of y'all. Some of y'all should definitely be in bed. It's a good time for hanging. Why are some y'all should not still be up, some of you. Tell us about the cats. Let's see. Gwenny is sitting over kind of near the TV, just sort of parked on the floor. And Prinny, where's Prinny? Oh, she is on the couch, kind of parked up on the top of the like back cushion of it. Quite asleep. Feeling pretty good. Have we been asked for a cat cam yet? Probably at various points. We've put out like a video showing the cats on the channel like years ago. And we don't have Kaylee anymore, sadly. They're all old cats, so like I don't know how much longer we'll have any of them. And and they've all aged a little bit too, but they're good little sweethearts. I should probably change the description here to just chatting. Just hanging out when we should be going to bed. Most of us. There we go, and there we go. Yep. It's noon here. Where are you? Where are you where it is noon? Or 11? Taiwan. Oh, cool. Well, enjoy your lunch. Do I think I'll ever do another remix for Overclocked Remix or something? I loved the Kingdom Hearts remix you did. Oh, thank you. No, I don't think I probably will. You know what? Sorry, this is off topic. At some point, I should figure out somehow in my layout here to get chat actually on screen for just chatting with this. Like, I can do that with I've got a layout for that with gameplay footage up in a corner or with credits running in the corner, but I should figure out how to get chat on screen here for this. Anyway, probably not. I probably won't do another OCR remix ever. Like, I enjoyed dabbling in music, but I was never especially good at it. And I now have overfilled my time with creative projects and stuff. So it's just... There's just no way anymore. I already can't keep up with all the stuff that I want to do or make. And I'll be honest, the remixing scene has, like, I was already pretty mediocre when I was making little music tracks back then. Like, I have some pride in the stuff I made back then, but I there were a lot of people who were far better musicians in the scene at that time, and I feel like that's only increased with time. I feel like the remixing scene has vastly outgrown the skill level I had. There are so many great artists out there. Hey, thanks for the 5 months. Rubik Darkwill. What is a game with animation that I feel is criminally overlooked? It's a good question. I do feel like Kingdom Hearts animation is underappreciated. Like, it's not overlooked. It's a popular game series, and it does get attention always specifically with like how closely they got a lot of attention for how impressively they imitated the look of CG animated films like Frozen and Toy Story and stuff like that. So it gets attention for that. I think, though, that like Kingdom Hearts has really been a superbly animated series of games from the get-go, just when it comes to like character action, motion, and stuff like that. Like, lots of great animation and character stuff that I don't think has really been widely appreciated as much as it deserves. Criminally overlooked, though. I feel like there definitely are examples out there, and I'm coming up with one on the spot is tricky. Have I played Harvestelli yet? And if I haven't, is it something you're planning to in the future? I haven't. I heard that some folks had some fun with it. I think I've not, like... I don't heavily gravitate toward the sort of, like, farming game type thing. Like, I've enjoyed Stardew and similar ones immensely in the past, but I don't, like, it's not a genre that I... and like usually just like itching to get in on. I heard some good things though. I heard some folks enjoyed it. It's not on my to-do list right now. I like took a quick glance at it last year just to check and see how the animation was, and it looked like fine, but nothing that needed to be in the best of the year list or anything, so I just kind of moved on. It's more JRPG than farming sim, which is pretty cool. I like farming. I'm enjoying seeing like kind of farming sim elements being part of a game rather than the totality of it, and blended with other stuff. Like seeing social link and dating sim type stuff kind of bleeding into other genres too, like can be a great time. Any chance for Moss 2 on the channel, or has the VR ship sailed? Yeah, I think at some point we should definitely do Moss 2 on the channel. recording VR stuff is definitely more of a pain in the butt. But I feel like we should do it at some point. I feel like there's a lot of VR games that I should actually like make some time just to play on my own time. I've been hearing about a lot of cool ones, but I've not actually like put on a VR headset in at least a year. And it's really fun. Like a good VR game can be such a blast. Tell us you played Half-Life Alyx. I didn't finish it, but I played like a good couple hours of it, and it's awesome. I would be totally down to do, like, I feel like Half-Life games are something I could see showing up on Playframes someday, maybe. Yeah, Half-Life Alyx is great.
Nah.
Do I tend to half-finish games? I tend to start a lot of them to get a look at them a lot of the times, to sort of like study their systems, to study their animation, to see if there's something that I want to feature on Playframe at some point. Oftentimes, like, a reason that I will start playing a game and then stop is if I either get bored of it or if I decide that, oh, this would probably be good for Playframe, I should stop here. And so I can actually like play through the whole thing for the first time on the channel. But then I can only play through so many of those at once, so like a big queue builds up. It's a bit of a bummer, like playing a game, a bit of it, and feeling like this is fun and I want to play more of it, but this would be good to do on the channel too. I can't play it now, then I'll have to wait. Am I someone who replays games? Yeah, sometimes. Like, honestly, one thing that I'm really happy about with Playframe is that it is a creative outlet that also carves out a time for me to play or games that I like, to play new games and replay old favorites regularly. It creates time for that in my week, guaranteed, and I like that a lot. So there are some games that I'll play or finish on my time or replay on my own time if I'm just sort of feeling it. But a lot of times, like, that's kind of what I'll use Playframe for. Do I have plans to play God of War Ragnarok on the channel? Absolutely. I've not played it already. I played the first like hour or so to examine animation in it and such. But yeah, no, that one's definitely happening on the channel. I originally thought it would be very soon. Like, I thought I'd be starting that in the very near future. It's probably going to be a month or two. Just because things are about to get busy for me, IRL. But it's definitely coming, though, and I'm very eager to see it. Have I played the Beautiful Joe games before? I don't think I've finished any of them, but I do own them, and I've played both. Like, I've dabbled in both of them back in their day. They're pretty cool. I miss Clover. I guess we still have Platinum, but Platinum does different kinds of games than what Clover did. I'm glad we still have Platinum though. You and your partner and her sister started your own Stardew Sundays after watching you and Carrie play together. Aw, yay. Stardew is such a great co-op game. It's really well designed on that front. Yeah, Stardew is such a great co-op game. Do you think you could talk about what you're currently doing for New Frame Plus? Sure. Yeah, I am working on, now that the favorites of 2022 is out, I am back to working on that Zelda video and trying to start getting momentum on actually, like, the script for that's written. I've recorded the audio for it, got most of the footage gathered. Like, it's really just about getting it all into Premiere and editing now. So if I can depending on how much time I can find for it, I can hopefully have that done before too super long, because that really needs to get done soon, because it's like, if Tears of the Kingdom comes out first, then that video is no longer relevant at all. And that would be a shame. So that has kind of given me a deadline. When I eventually get to the animation of Final Fantasy XIV, will it really only be one video? Probably yes, because even though there is a lot of animation in 14, it has evolved over time with each expansion, the systems are still fundamentally very similar. And so, like, with most of the videos we've made so far, I've basically talked about every animation or pose that you will see in each one of these games, like listing them all out, because there are so few, there are so few of them that it's pretty easy to kind of like dive in deep and really focus on all of it. But as we start getting to the 3D games, like Final Fantasy VII and onward, at that point the scope starts increasing considerably, and we're gonna have to, like, the focus is gonna have to start like zooming out a bit for those videos. So, like, we're gonna be talking in more broad terms, not like looking at every individual animation. We'll be looking at like individual systems and categories of animation a little bit more. And the Final Fantasy XIV video will probably be very large, but honestly, by that point, we'll be talking about like the games on either side of it, the Final Fantasy 13s and 15. Like, Final Fantasy 15 may not have the quantity of animation that 14 does at this point, but in terms of like animation system complexity, 15 is so much more complex than 14. So those videos will also just get longer, inevitably, once we get there. Will I cover side projects like Mystic Quest and Tactics? I don't have plans to currently. As it is, they're already coming out very slowly. And I'm trying to kind of focus on the mainline games because they sort of tell the story of progression, and spin-off side projects often don't as much. Like, one of the few that I would consider looping in isn't even Final Fantasy at all. It would be Chrono Trigger, because that, I feel like, is... Chrono Trigger is actually a pretty big animation step up from Final Fantasy VI in a lot of ways. But then again, we're not like talking about the progression of animation in JRPGs at large. So I probably won't do that. Maybe Chrono Trigger will get its own video someday, because the animation in Chrono Trigger is very cool. It's very cool the ways it expands on what Final Fantasy VI does. But will I ever make another magnum opus like the Sonic New Frame Plus video again? Probably not until I'm able to go full-time doing this. And even then, maybe not. But, like, if I'm able to go full-time, then that becomes halfway feasible again. But probably just not a good idea. Am I worried about the Final Fantasy VI video since it's a fan favorite that I don't like as much? Not too much, since I still think, like, regardless of how I feel about the game itself, the assessment of the animation is still something that, like, will still be, I think, really interesting to dive into, and isn't really, like, how much I do or don't like the play of Final Fantasy VI isn't that relevant to the animation assessment. I mean, I was just kind of I poured a lot of sugar on Final Fantasy II for the NES because of, like, the expansions to animation and the ways that it actually, like, introduces animated cutscenes and things like that. I hate playing that game. But in terms of animation and story presentation, it's a huge leap, and that's what the video is about. So, like... What are my thoughts on Netflix's Sonic Prime thus far? I've not gotten a chance to see it, but I've heard great things. I've been told that apparently some folks in production, like, share my animation of Sonic games video around sometimes, which is super flattering. And I also just recently learned that I know the animation director on it. So I'm now like, oh, okay, yeah, I should watch this. Also, like, some of the people that I've been, like, hearing good things about from it, like, I heard from a like former coworker, just incredible animator, who was saying that Sonic Prime basically has cracked how you animate modern 3D Sonic and make it look appealing and do a good job of it. And that's all I need to hear. That's like, oh, cool. Then I need to see this, because none of the games have really done that. And so I am very, very excited to see a studio, like a production that does crack it. So yeah, super excited to see Sonic Prime now. Oh, hey, Will's in here. Sorry, I got distracted. Will, hello. Imagine if someone made a video about every Final Fantasy game's animation. What sort of fool would embark on that endeavor? Do you think rounds will make a return in the into the Battle of the Dans this year as well? I feel like rounds is just gonna forever perpetually show up on our channel over and over, because it's just quickly become one of our favorite things to play together. I've dabbled a little bit with modded rounds now, like not just modded so that 3 people can play, but with like more like powers and cards and stuff like that. And boy, modded rounds gets very wacky in a fun way. Dan and I will have to do some of that soon. But I don't know, like, we'll have to figure out how Battle of the Dans is going to work out in the future, because I get, like, so the reason that things are going to be a little bit busy for me in the coming month is that Carrie and I need to move in the next month. So that's that'll just throw a little bit of chaos into our day-to-day. But also will make scheduling things, recording things locally with fellow Dans trickier. I think we'll still find a way to do it, but like moving cities. So like, yeah, we'll be headed back up to Vancouver again, which I'm excited about, because Vancouver's great. Even though like the thing I'm most sad about is leaving behind all these wonderful people who I know who live here, like Will, for instance, and the Dans, and all these good friends. Fortunately, like Vancouver is not wildly far away, so I could totally see us getting both Dans to just come up and visit for like a weekend. Like, record a Battle of the Dans, just hang out. We'll figure it out, though. An easier desert bus commute, though? Well, you'd think that. But no, weirdly. So, desert bus, like the Loading Ready Run folks, are located in Victoria on Vancouver Island. Which, while located closer to Vancouver, getting to Victoria from Vancouver sucks. Getting to Victoria from Seattle is way easy. You just hop on a boat. Hop on a boat that goes directly there. Or a seaplane, which goes there even faster. If you're doing it from Vancouver, you need to drive out to the ferry, ride the ferry, then drive another hour or so from where the ferry drops you off on the other side of Vancouver Island. It takes like half a day at least, as opposed to like 3-4 hours. It's worth it because Victoria is lovely. But you'd think it would be easier and faster to get there from Vancouver than Seattle, but we should get Carrie involved in the next Battle of the Dans as a one-time guest contestant. I'd be down for that. Though I like having her present on the editor's side, and boy, like, Battle of the Dans is such an editor-intensive series to do. Just having 3 people recording on its own is a lot. But then having to do all the overlay stuff with like Dan Heads and Dan Went, like it's way more editor intensive. So those like Battle of the Dans weeks were busy weeks for Carrie. That's true, Lily wasn't in this battle, but Lily is up in Vancouver, so it's possible Lily could be reintroduced. Although it is also fun, just honestly, just having just having me, Dan Jones, and Emmons has also been a blast. It will be nice getting to see, like, as bummed as I am not living near all these lovely people here in Seattle, it will be quite nice being able to see folks like Lily and other friends in Vancouver more often. But yeah, moving, not fun. But moving is also why, originally I was thinking, oh, I'll probably get to God of War after this Plague Knight playthrough, maybe. But, no, I've got something else prepared for covering the move stretch of time that I recorded in advance. So we'll do that first. You hope our move is as smooth as it can be? I do too. Moving always sucks, but we've done it a few times, and we'll make it work. The fact that we're moving to a city we have lived in before, or like an area we've lived in before, has helped. Like, will help, for sure. Way easier than last time we moved up there, like, from Georgia, and without getting to, like, really scope out the place, like, before settling in. On the one hand, Absolute, it's true. This may mean the end of Dominic interruptions. On the other hand, I haven't allowed myself to believe that yet, because I don't want to jinx it. We'll probably still be living in a fairly populated area. So who knows? I just remembered a question you had about Little Gator Game. It feels like such a good fit for Carrie. Why isn't she controlling Floyd, or is she more comfortable just watching while you record? I think a lot of the time she is more comfortable, or pretty happy to just be kind of like spectating and commentating and talking and doing voices and stuff, depending on the game. There are some though that she that she should definitely be controlling for. Like whenever Little Kitty Big City comes out, that I feel like has to be her. That's the only correct feeling answer. Is there anything I really miss from Georgia? Aside from family, not a whole lot. Like there's some food in Georgia that is great. Like Southern cooking is not healthy, but very delicious. But that's the way it is everywhere, right? Like there's some foods that you will have in plentiful abundance and other foods that just won't be nearly as easy to find. But on the whole, I really, there wasn't a whole ton about Georgia that I was particularly attached to. Definitely not the, weather and climate and all that. Blech. Ooh, was Little Kitty Big City updated, with its release date from Cats Don't Have Deadlines to coming soon on Steam? That's exciting to hear. Yeah, I'm hopeful for 2023. I have a good feeling. Carrie should be in control if we do Stray. Well, we kind of already did Stray. I'll probably go back and finish that at some point because I don't think it's very long. I could probably finish it in another couple of episodes. But I'd probably still be controlling it. I feel like part of the reason that she didn't get in on, that it wasn't a game we played together was also that, because the cat is in danger a lot, that's pretty, for her, seemed pretty more anxiety-inducing than fun. But we'll see. Who knows? I don't really have any specific plans regarding Stray. I wanted to say I appreciate you covering multiverses on your year-end video. I hope you took a peek on Marvin the Martian as well. Yeah, honestly, a lot of the Looney Tunes characters in multiverses I think are really successful. Taz looks great. Marvin the Martian looks great. Not all characters are successful. Like, I really feel like Steven Universe doesn't feel like they quite captured the character. And like a handful, same with a handful of other characters as well. But for the characters that do land, like a lot of the Looney Tunes ones and Tom and Jerry and stuff like that, really impressive. And that Tom and Jerry stuff, like that moveset is so creative. I was really impressed. Will Final Fantasy 16 get played on PlayFrame? I could see that happening. We've got a big backlog of large games we've kind of been meaning to get to. Partly because Elden Ring ate up all of 2022 and will probably eat up more as soon as DLC comes out. I may wait until we are sure all DLC for Elden Ring is out before I go back to it. We'll have to see. But I'm definitely excited for Final Fantasy 16, and I would be down for doing that on the channel if it makes sense. So excited for that game to come out. Any plans for Crisis Core? I don't think so. Unless as more Final Fantasy VII Remake starts coming along, if it starts feeling increasingly important to have played Crisis Core for story relevance reasons, maybe we will. But I'm kind of feeling like no. I feel like Crisis Core is fairly mediocre on that front. But I mean, given some of the twists and things we know at the end of Final Fantasy VII Remake, it does really feel like Zack might have a lot more relevance. And I mean, the Crisis Core is the Zack game. So hard to say. We'll see. Will Silksong be a drop everything and play immediately, or try to fit it gracefully into the schedule situation? I don't know. I suppose it depends on what we are currently playing and how far we are into it, right? I will definitely want to get to Silksong as soon as I'm able. And it is looking increasingly possible that it is going to be out in 2023. Signs are kind of pointing that way. A little bit. But, we'll see. If I'm like halfway through some other very good playthrough, like if we're halfway through God of War Ragnarok and Silksong drops, we'll finish God of War and then get in our Hornet times. Are you planning to start uploading Dermon's Adventures and Store Plugs on the channel this month? No. I think we need to finish Paper Mario 1000 Year Door before I can get back to doing any Final Fantasy 14 stuff. And Paper Mario is probably going to need to take a brief hiatus for the move stuff as well. So it's definitely not going to be this month. It's going to be a little bit. I miss Dermon too, but yeah, one thing at a time. Would I consider turning Dermon into a little VTuber after the Final Fantasy 14 stuff is done? That'd be cute. I could see it. I imagine it might feel very weird having my voice actually coming out of Dermon, like Dermon speaking, like his face animating and all that as I talk. I could see that feeling weird, maybe? Like, it's one thing for me to be sort of narrating as the player over him. To actually have my voice coming out of him, I wonder if that would feel strange. If I did have a VTuber rig, what would I want it to be? Hard to say. It'd be fun having it. Like, VTube stuff seems very fun to do. Challenging, because it's like one more, like, it's one more way you're having to split your attention, right? Like, to Let's Play, you are already having to split your attention between talking and being entertaining and trying to speak entertainingly and playing the game well. If you're doing like a face cam, then you're also having to like sort of track your own physical performance a little bit and be playing up to camera a bit, which like some people just have that skill or have developed that skill, and I definitely have not. That would be an additional distraction. And VTuber performance seems like that, but you're also having to like perform a little bit more specifically and probably exaggeratedly to make the like camera tracking and all that sort of do the expressions and the motion and stuff like that you're wanting. I'm so impressed by it at the performers who can do all of that. It's really impressive. Tiny little bug knight VTuber. I suppose that face would be very easy, wouldn't it? Just a little tiny body and a head just sort of like puppeting around. Probably the easiest VTube rig of all time. It's true, getting a little bit of motion on the eye sockets would be more expressive, but also since that's sort of more of a mask, I feel like it would definitely be a good way to be more expressive, but if we're being super faithful to materials, it could just be a little blank face you have just there all the time. Would it be possible to adapt the Dan Jones cartoon, like Cartoon Me, into a simple rig? Not without a lot more assets specifically made for that. Like, even like 2D VTube rig, puppet rigs are pretty like impressive creations. Like, especially if you're like wanting to make a good looking one, it involves a lot of like, it takes a lot of work. But I think I would sooner do an on-screen avatar, whether that's a PNG tuber type thing or a simple 2D character or whatever, way sooner than I'd do like a face cam or something. It seems way more fun. I'm more used to talking through a little cartoon avatar. Going back to Elden Ring conversation, Monster Hunter and Soulsborne both focus on big monsters and high skill ceilings, but they're very different games. Do you have any profound thoughts on how they sell their respective experiences? I think there's a lot of, like, dozens and dozens and dozens of tiny nuances that make Monster Hunter and, like, FromSoft Soulsborne games feel different. But I think the largest aspect of the difference is just the loop of it. Monster Hunter stuff is very session-based, mission-based. And Soulsborne stuff just generally isn't. And it's more about exploring a hostile space and gaining greater mastery of of that terrain as much as the combat itself. So I think it's like similar combat system design toward different game genre purposes. Is Monster Hunter high skill ceiling? Oh, very much, yes. Like, watching high level, like super skilled Monster Hunter play is something else. Like their precise knowledge of the timing of monster attacks compared to their big attacks, and them being able to stand directly in the path of an oncoming attack, charging up something big and slow because they know the exact timing they need to do and when to let it loose to stagger and stun the monster that's coming in at them is so scary, but cool to watch. And yeah, Monster Hunter's a more arcadey and kind of vibe in general, and more silly, and like the vibes are totally different in that way. But it is still very similar in the basic design of combat's speed and in how you can't just go in spamming attack. You need to choose your moments and get in and out without getting hit. That foundation level similarity to their combat design is what makes them seem very similar in a lot of ways. Even though so much around the rest of that experience is actually quite different. I don't know how we shifted to Outer Wilds in chat, but I'm all about it. Outer Wilds, good. Incredibly good games. I'm very curious to see what that studio, whose name is escaping me right now, like what they do next. I wasn't expecting Outer Wilds DLC, nor was I expecting Outer Wilds DLC to be as good as Outer Wilds. Mobius, that's their name. Thank you. But yeah, I kind of hope they do a new thing now, because like they're clearly very clever and inventive, and I'm very excited to see what other sort of neat things they could come up with. Would I ever play the Sly Cooper games for the channel? I don't have any special, like, interest in Sly Cooper stuff. Like, I'd probably dip into it a little bit, but I don't think I'd feel like any kind of from what I've seen, I don't feel like I'd feel any inclination to, like, I gotta play all the Sly Cooper games. Maybe I'd feel differently after playing one, but even if I did find that I really liked them, I can't imagine I would commit to like playing all of them on the channel or anything. I could see like playing one. It's hard enough like squeezing all the games I'm wanting to play on the channel into the schedule somehow. They keep on making too many more good ones. You recently played Persona 5, and it made you realize that I reference that series a lot. I know they're long, but would that be a possibility one day? I could see... I feel like maybe that would be... I do enjoy the... Persona 3, 4, and 5 I have enjoyed a good bit, and I could see maybe someday, like if I eventually go full-time or something, maybe as a stream, because even then, that's still like... even streamed, that's a lot of streams. They are very long games. But I feel like the pacing of them and the kind of daily cycle loop of them, I don't know how well that lends itself to Let's Play. And it would be similar to Elden Ring. It would be like committing the channel to a Persona game for 8-9 months. And I don't think that would be great for views. I don't think it would probably be a very good idea to do on Playframe. Maybe as a stream, but even then, like, I could stream 20 other games in that time, so it's hard to say. But I do also like them, so I don't know. I wouldn't want to rule it out. Very curious what Persona 6 is going to look like. Did I know that only the top 5% of streamers have more than an average of 30 viewers at a time? Yeah, well, I didn't know that specifically, but that's very much what my assumption would be. That's the case with YouTube as well. Like, if you have like 10,000 subscribers, you are already in a very, like, probably like less than 3% of YouTube channels have that. And if you get up to like 100,000 subscribers, then you're in the top 1% already. Because like anybody can make a YouTube channel. So a lot of people do, and most of them don't have many like viewers or much traffic. So it does not surprise me that it's the same for Twitch. I'm wondering what the next animal mascot will be for the next Persona. Let's see. We did have a dog in 3, and a bear, sort of, in 4. And a cat, sort of, in 5. Yeah, well, maybe we'll have like a goldfish. It's not going to be helpful. A capybara, that'd be fun. Oh, a snake. There's all kinds of good animals I could do. They haven't really done a bird. Like, I could see some kind of bird. Hi, Dan. You and Carrie are the cutest humans. Oh, well, thank you. That's kind of you to say. Fairy Fountain theme is a really cozy feeling composition, isn't it? Like, obviously, these are all lo-fi remixes, so they're all designed to feel cozy, but that one does feel kind of inherently cozy. And it's in all their original forms. It's comforting and safe feeling. Now I've just got people excited for and talking about and speculating on what Persona 6 could potentially be. I feel like I remember that, like, maybe like the director of the past Persona games was like moving on after Persona 5, so like it's sort of in different creative hands, which may not necessarily be a bad thing. It could be whoever is put in charge is just as up to the task and just brings a new energy or vibe to it. Like, it may be a great thing, who knows? I was very curious. I don't know if I have time to play Persona games anymore, even on my own time. 5 took a long time to finish. And I'm a lot busier now than I was when that came out. It could do that. That's true. The spin-offs of Persona games are shorter, generally. I do also find them less interesting, and I find the writing in the spin-offs is always worse, which is a bit of a bummer. Because that's like the main reason I'd want to dig into a lot of the spin-offs, right? Like one of the spin-offs that I thought was pretty cool were the Persona Q games that came out on the 3DS that were sort of a Etrian Odyssey type thing, because that dungeon crawl dungeon mapping experience is like really cool. But the writing in those was a good bit weaker. Like they basically took all of the sort of character traits of of all of the casts of those games and just basically took 1 or 2 traits for each character and made them basically very one note all about that trait all the time. So there just wasn't any nuance to them anymore. Which is a bit of a bummer. Yeah, they did feel kind of fan fiction-y in a way. I did play a little bit of Strikers, not very far though. I know it's pretty fun, but I'm also I often find that sort of Musou genre is one that I just tire of very quickly. I want to like it more than I ever always end up doing. Have I played any of Snake Pass? I don't think I have played Snake Pass, actually. I do miss having more time to play games. Which is what happens when you have 2 jobs, but Final Fantasy XIV's arguably not helping that, but I'm not too mad about it because I'm having a good time. Just a nice, cozy other life to dip into for a few hours. Even when just doing sort of boring, grindy things. It's a nice world to hang in. That is one other thing that I'd kind of look forward to being able to go full-time and stream more often, is being able to just have more time to play other fun games more frequently. How much do you like playing on camera versus off camera, by the way? That's a good question. It depends. On camera is definitely way more tiring because I'm having to be on and perform and all that, but it can make the experience of some games way more memorable and special. So I tend to like it a lot. If I can tell I'm gonna like a game that I've not played yet, or only played a little of yet, I like holding off so that I can have that first time experience in a recorded way. Like I am enjoying Paper Mario Thousand Year Door, which I'd not played before, and I'm definitely enjoying it way more because I'm doing it as a performed thing and doing voices for characters and stuff, and that's making it a way more of a memorable time. It's fun. But sometimes it is nice to have some games that are just I am just chilling out and relaxing and playing a thing on my own time. That's much more restful. So it's a different kind of fun. And it depends on the game. It's true, Will. Going full-time certainly would probably not give me as much time for games as I would like. Just need there to be more time. Current favorite video game I'm not playing on the channel. I feel like I'm kind of between them right now. Like, I've been dipping into a bunch for footage recently, but that's sometimes like really more work than play. I feel like I've been needing to start something else on my own time. I think I'm gonna probably start playing the rest of Neon White on my own time, because I don't think that's gonna come back on Playframe. And its moment is passed on for streaming it. And I've got limited time for doing streams, and I should be doing more Final Fantasy 5 and 6 streams for that. So like, Neon White's one that I feel like I'd probably have a good time with. I've kind of got like a short list of games that I have been sitting on as like games that I want to get to on my own time at some point. Like Deathloop, I want to go and properly do, because what I played of Deathloop I really enjoyed. That studio's games are just so good all the time. Hollow Cure can also very easily be a just chill out on my own time, relax, play game type thing. Did I ever complete Punch-Out Wii? Did I? I think I completed like a first run playthrough where you like beat Mr. Sandman. But then that's when you get to like the second run through where all the fighters are a lot tougher, right? I don't think I've ever done that. But it is a whole second half to the game. I have not fought Donkey Kong. Alas. I'm not incredibly good at the game, but boy, do I love me some animation in that game. I could see playing that game on the channel someday. I may not be able to do the second half of it, but if I could get through Mr. Sandman on it, I'd feel pretty satisfied with that. Because even just getting through that first half of the game, that game's not a pushover. It gets hard. Is a Hi-Fi Rush episode coming soon? Yes. Yeah, I'll be doing a one-off of that next week. I am stunned by that game. Like, it's to be fair, like, I fall exactly in the middle of the Venn diagram that game is catering to. But it is, like, really impressive, like, how cohesive it all is aesthetically. It seems like a pretty fun romp. All right, I should start winding down, and some of you definitely should have gone to bed a long time ago. Here, let's switch over to doing our credit roll here. Oh, and Dan Jones is still doing Elden Ring. Lovely. I forget who he's doing it with, but I think Dan got the seamless co-op going with is it a randomizer too? Dan started something Elden Ring today, and is he doing it with Gam? Okay, that makes sense. That is why I also see Gam is on playing Elden Ring. Lovely. So, I don't know how that's going at all, but they've been going for a bit. So let's all go check in on Dan. I am thrilled to hear how Elden Ring randomizer life is going. And a seamless rando with Gam, that's going to be a good time for all. They've been going for 8 hours. Gracious. Can't believe, like, I'm usually exhausted by the time I hit hour 5 of a stream. Can't believe how long Dan Jones can stream without being wiped out. But yeah, thank you all so much for joining today. I hope you enjoyed our wrong play, even though I think we all sort of lost interest and got bored toward the end there. But that's to be expected, especially with games that aren't really coming together, but are also not really letting you play a lot. I don't know, it was interesting to look at, though. My sympathies to... Oh, darn it, what's the team's name? I'm blanking on it now. Darn it. Luminous Studio? I think so. I think that's what it is. Yeah. My sympathies to them, and I hope that whatever their next project is, that that the production goes more smoothly than both Final Fantasy 15 and Forspoken have gone for them, because it seems like they can't catch a break. Anyway, thank you for joining me for it, though. And I'll maybe be back with another stream on Sunday, depending on how busy things are, but no promises, because move prep is, well, y'all know. Anyway, let's all go say hi to Dan and wish him well on his randomizer. We've had bonkers good luck with the Hollow Knight randomizer thing, so I really worry that there might not be a whole lot of, like, good karma or luck left for him on this one, but let's find out. Here we go! Bye!